Button now.
Hey there,
Hey, everybody.
we're
Hey,
BabbleGab.
everybody. Welcome to BabbleGab.
Yay.
I'm Timmy.
On.
That's Ranker and Tony.
That's
Yeah.
Thinky, yeah. What's his name? Okay, so good old YouTube. Ah, there it is. Yeah, there's the. Okay, that's. Oh, goody. Yay, yay. And I forgot to hit
Hey, we hear all kinds of stuff.
that one. There we go. Forgot to mute everything. So, everybody, how was
Did
everybody?
Spencer Milligan floofy?
Yeah, Wesley posted that. I guess it was back in April, but he didn't have confirmation until now.
Goodness, I didn't know that. I kind of figured it might happen. I mean, when I met him, that he was in his 80s, and that was, 6-7 years ago now.
God, hard to believe, isn't it? But we got to
So
be.
I guess that's it. Us that cameo he did in my film was it.
Yep, you got to direct his very last work, and we got to co-star with him. On
Isn't
his
that
very
cool?
last
I mean, it's
thing.
cool. It's sad that he's left us, but it's still kind of cool. We got to do that. Really cool.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. What's cool, and for those of you who don't know who are watching, Spencer Milligan was Marshall on Land of the Lost.
Yeah, the dad, Rick Marshall, and
Yeah, yep.
he was also on like the Logan's Run TV show, and he was on Alice, and he was on like Gunsmoke and a lot of different things. But that's what he's going to be most known for is Rick Marshall.
Oh yeah.
And for those that don't know, he in our film The Last Page of Summer, and we reunited him with the rest of the family. So they were a family for the first time since '77 when he left the show. And also I sat at the bar with him for 2.5 hours and talked.
And he stole his ice cream.
No, that was the other guy, Ron Masak.
Okay.
He's gone too, unfortunately.
Well, Wesley talked Ron Masak into coming to help get Spencer over there because he was a real hard, it was real hard to get him to make an appearance. That was his only ever appearance, ever. So, and he said he liked the fans and was just flattered that all the fans were just because he didn't expect people to even remember him and everything, and people were just gushing on him, and he was so flattered that he said he would love to do this again, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And
Oh God.
Well, that messed a lot of people up.
Yeah.
With their, I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about the disease. I'm talking about the whole,
Yeah.
film process and TV process and all that kind of crap got sidelined because of COVID.
Yeah. Well, my work, my life's work, The Last Page of Summer was, that. Now, are we on Facebook? Because I'm trying to find it on the BabbleGab site. Oh no, we're doing this differently, aren't we?
Yeah. So
We're doing it on YouTube.
It's an event on Facebook, but the event, if you click join event, it takes you to
Can one of you
YouTube.
be a sweetie and give me the YouTube link, and I'll just post it, like put it in chat? Or do you have it on your wall, one of you guys?
Hang on, I got it.
Yeah, I've already forwarded. I've already shared it, but here we go. And
It's a little harder for me to do things without my external monitor.
yeah. Okay, and Steve also says he's sad to hear about Spencer too.
Well, that's how I just learned it. Was when Steve said that.
Oh, yeah, because Wesley posted it and I reposted it.
Oh, I didn't see. You know how Facebook is with sharing things from people you actually care about.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
oh yeah.
Right.
All right. Sorry, folks. I'm doing the silent part here, trying to.
Yeah, that's cool. That's how it is. That's all podcasts are going to be like that. The first couple of minutes are just people getting situated.
Yep. Okay, Timmy, I put a link into the
I did that already.
the chat.
But,
I got it. Thank you.
yeah.
You're welcome. So how's everybody been doing?
Surviving.
Good, good. I'm glad you're not dying.
Yeah, at least not yet.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm on location right now in Peculiar, Missouri,
Ah,
Yes,
and
you are.
I thought the
and
whole
I
state was.
am next door to the homestead because, of course, the homestead had a devastating fire.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'll put it. See what I don't know what I'm doing.
Never tell them that.
No,
Oh,
just
God,
tell them, you know exactly what
that's-
you're doing.
Yeah, that's the garage where it started. So what happened is um uh
Some
so
ducks were playing with matches.
well, that's just a rumor. But so what happened is it smoldered all night and nobody knew.
Oh,
So the lady across the street
oh.
at midnight smelled smoke. And then Tammy here next door, she was up at 4 a.m. and smelled smoke and looked outside to see if someone was burning something and didn't see anything. So about 6 a.m., 10 to 6, Big Judy, who lives in the house there, she went out to, I don't know if it was Pam's nurse or somebody dropped something, and she went out to let somebody in or let somebody out, whatever. And she went back to bed. And 10 minutes later, a Kansas fireman and his wife were driving by and saw the flames or the smoke, and he went and let himself in. And he went and got her out of bed, said the house is on fire, get out. And Pam is bedridden in the back room, and they pulled her out. I guess they had a sheet and they just pulled her out of the bed and
Yeah.
took her outside. And so Don was in the basement. Now the basement is there's an opening between two valleys in the backyard, so there's a full door and windows that goes to the basement. He was still asleep, and by the time the people got Judy and Pam out, the fire department was already there because that's the first thing they did, is call the fire department. So they got there really quick, and so Don was asleep, and a cop broke into his door and is running across the room, and Don's like, "What the hell are you doing in here? What's going on?" And the cop said, "It's on fire. Your house is on fire. Get the hell out." So Don's putting on his shorts and his boots and stuff, and the cop says, "There's no time for that. Get out." And he's like, "Look, your ass ain't hanging out there, and neither's mine." So Pam said that she saw Don come out, and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" And he looked up and saw the flames. And he's like, "Oh, so basically what you saw in that picture was the garage, and that was really the only room that was burnt, but it went through the attic. So it's like all through the house there's there's some smoke damage in the house, but the fire department took most of the ceilings out,
Wow.
and they even cut through the roof in a couple places, and that's about it. I mean, the house, other than the garage, is pretty much fully intact. The roof isn't in a lot of places. The roofs would have to be replaced, but it looks like they're going to have to demolish the house, and it's going to cost her $16,000 to demolish the house, which is like her life savings.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks because I keep telling them, isn't there a way you can just cut the whole garage and the roof off and make it a smaller house? I mean, it just seems like $16,000 could go to repairing the house. But I mean, she wasn't insured, so it just...
Yeah, you could think that they could put a whole new roof and everything in for 16,000.
Well, that's stretching it, but yeah, I mean, it would at least go toward that, because
Yeah.
if she demolishes it, that's 16,000, and then to put a modular on the spot, I mean, you're going to talk 100,000 at least,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I just wish it's even like a waste of money to spend 16,000 to destroy something. And I'm sentimental. I'm a fool, I'd love that.
Believe me. Yeah.
No,
I'm the same way.
I don't think you're a fool. I think your logic is fairly sound there.
Yeah, I at least told them that several times, but it's like, look, I don't live here. I'm not the one that make the decisions, but I just wanted to run it by them. Just make it a smaller house, cut off the bad stuff. But they bought the house in '71, and it was only a year old, and so I was there since I was a little baby.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, that was my little solace, it was my little heaven every year.
Yeah.
But we still have a little of that because we also, just before I came in here, we still all sat out in the swing and the stuff right in front of the house. So that was part of the magic.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. She might be able to stay there, or and rebuild something, or not. I don't know. So this is. Do you see this?
Oh, there you are.
I see your car.
That's the house. That's after the fire. So to me, that's what's a shame is
Yeah.
if the house is intact, you know.
Now,
So that's
who's
kind
saying
of
that
like-
they have? Is there like a county inspector or something telling them that it has to be torn down, or?
Yeah, it was the city. The thing is it's a city, and see, the house predates the city by 35 years.
Yeah,
and the city
yeah.
gobbled it up, and now they're. And at first, they were grandfathered in, and then somebody said, "Well, no, you're no longer grandfathered." I've never heard someone say you're no longer. You're either grandfathered in or not.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a misinterpretationism, and that's they thought that they were going to have to bulldoze a house. It happened in May, like before Memorial Day, and they
Right.
thought it was going to have to be bulldozed in 60 days. But no, they just have to get the permit in 60 days. So that's and then Don went there. Don and Tammy went to the city last night, and they had all these other unrealistic demands about capping off the water, and it had to be done by these people, which would have been tens of thousands. And Don kind of raised Cain, and they were kind of backtracked. He's like, they said this, and he's like, well, you wrote it. He's like, I did. So it's like some of the stuff Don's going to be able to do, and so we'll see. There was a big power line. It went from the pole to the back of the house. This power line, and Don and I came out there, and he says, so we can just cut this power line right here. And I'm like, are you sure about that? And he's like, yeah, they took out the meter over there, and I'm like, are you sure about that? And I told him, I said, because if you make one mistake, that's it. And if your hair stands up, I'm not grabbing you. And I really worked on him because he really wanted to do it. And he says, yeah, the guy said, I said, who did he say? You know, and I said, because you're taking someone's word for it. It's like saying, no, the gun isn't loaded. And finally, I think he took my advice and he kind of gave up on it and said, you know, maybe we'll call the line supervisor or something. And
Yeah, because
So
it's
that-
nothing to
that
do with
scared
it.
the hell
'Cause
out of me.
it's nothing to do with the meter. You have to cut it off back at the pole.
yeah, well, they said they took the chip out, but see, that's what Tammy said. They took the chip out, but they didn't take the chip out to the barn. And I'm just like, he's
Yeah.
like, well, the barn was demolished 10 years ago. And I'm like, you know what? What if he took the wrong chip out?
Yeah.
You know, there's just a lot of questions there, and it's not worth your life.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Well,
So at least he kind of stalled. I hope he doesn't. I hope they get an expert out to at least
Yeah.
check before he does something.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's a lot of hearsay after a disaster. So there's, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
so
and you know that the city's got contractors they like to use that kick them back. So,
but yeah, if you saw that picture of the driveway right in front of the garage door last year, I did BabbleGab sitting right in front of the garage door. That's when we made the joke about the strawberry starbursts and the pink and all that. That's where that happened. So
right.
you know, it's so you at least got the picture.
Oh, yeah.
So what I did today is I went in by myself in the morning, and I just went, you know, I measured every single room with my cell phone and said every measurement from this closet to here and everything, because I want to make a 3D model of it inside and out
Right.
and use it in the next movie or Transforma stuff. Little Judy did more lines. I've got like 46 Transforma scenarios she's done things for now, so I'm set to go. Maybe that'll be a new triple album if the music follows the creativity of everything else. And my cousins that live in Lake of the Ozarks, they canceled on me, and that pissed me off because at the beginning of the month, I gave them a month in advance, and they said, "Yeah, we'll be here." Or we should be here, and then now I was like, oh, so I'm going to go up there, and then they're like, oh, we got these birthday parties and this and that. Maybe we can have lunch together next Saturday. I'm like, I'll be home next Saturday. So I got stuck. So I went and shortened my plans, shortened my trip. I was going to leave a couple days earlier, and Don gave me the guilt trip about leaving early. So I'm going to stay here a couple more days. So yeah, but I was mad that morning because. And we went to a place called the Missouri Mud Company. It was a little sandwich shop in a strip mall, and little Judy said it's a great place. So I ordered a grilled cheese, and their combo meals has a side, and they said, our sides, I said, what are your sides? And they're like coleslaw or, you know, artichoke hearts, whatever the heck, you know, and I'm like, or you can get a bag of chips. I'll take chips. So all they had were regular Lays, and everything else was like Doritos, and they were all ranch or sour cream and onion. And I was looking all around the little stand, turning it around. I'm like, that's all they got? I said, do you have anything other than sour cream and onion? And she goes to the kitchen, and this Mexican guy comes out with a handful of them, just slams them into the bowl. And I'm going through them, and they're all ranch and sour cream and onion. And I said, thanks for nothing. And I start going back to my seat, and Judy's like, what's the matter? I says, all they got are goddamn sour cream and onion or Cool Ranch. And I started dropping the F-bomb. And then a minute later, I'm like, I'm sorry. I totally flew off the handle. And then it became funny because I couldn't believe I flew off the handle over ranch chips. That's what it took to set me off.
Oh, that'll do it.
I know. I think it's funny now, but because that's, you know me, that's not my style. But I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
No,
What you got going on, Got Shot?
You like plain stuff.
Planes?
Plain. You don't like a lot of flavor. I mean, you don't
Not
like
really plain, or I would have liked the plain Lays. I don't like that. But just this a nacho cheese chips isn't plain. If it's just regular nacho cheese, it's fine. I hate regular Lays. I didn't get any chips. I just went empty-handed. But it's all right. The grilled cheese sandwich was pretty thick. I didn't need all of those extra. It just got me mad. I don't know why ranch and sour cream and onion come straight from hell. You know, it's like the guy went straight into hell through that kitchen door and came out with ranch and sour cream and onion chips.
Well, maybe that's gateway.
There you go.
Did you see that thing I just posted about the 5-day forecast? It had the devil farting fire.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw that earlier. Yeah.
It made me laugh.
Hey, Got Shot.
Got Shot dismissed. I told about the fire and everything else.
Well, I was listening before I got here. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw earlier where you posted that you might have to leave a few days early, and I was going to just say, why don't you go out to Colorado and visit your brother?
Oh, fuck that. No, Don, you have to meet Don. He's like 6'8", and he's told me, so why, what are you going to do when you get home a day early? I'm like, well, I might work on my album I'm trying to finish. I might do some yard work. I might just relax and enjoy the weekend before I have to go back to work.
Yeah.
And then later I thought, you know what? This only comes once a year. I'm visiting family. My cousin's 83 years old. This might be the last time I ever get to see that house. So why not stay an extra day or two? Shoot.
Yeah.
I scheduled it, so I'm just going to... The problem is that means I'm going back on a Friday, and I've got to go through St. Louis, Nashville, and Atlanta on Friday. So that's kind of that'll add 4 or 5 hours to my trip.
Yeah.
And I adopted these 4 big concrete lions. They're not big, but they're solid cement. So,
yeah.
I showed Gracie liked them because they painted them all funny, and I said, I guess I adopted the lion. I'm going to buy them off her to help her out. But Gracie laughed and said, well, they're going to protect my house. I don't know where to put them, but they're not even. I think they're too heavy for one person to lift. So one of you guys, if you can meet me at the house when I get home,
there you go.
Help me get them out of the truck.
There you go. What kind of lions are they? Are they like food dogs or are they regular lions?
Your traditional lion. 2 of them are sitting and 2 of them are laying.
Okay.
I posted a picture in our chat.
I remember that. Yeah, I should have looked at it closer.
I can try to put it behind me.
There you go. Because I see them here, little ones. They'll put like on a post, little concrete lions, and they all got the one paw up like that. So when I walk by, it was like that because they got the paw up.
Well, if you ever see the lion dogs, one of them's got they usually put one with their paw on a ball, and that is the male. And then you see the female, she has her paw on some puppies. And those are the food dog lions. The lion dogs. They're very Chinese.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to post a picture of the lions, -1 because one was out of frame, but here they are.
Oh, there you go.
And you can see one sitting up on top of the thing with the little lamp.
They have kind of a Yellow Submarine vibe about them.
Yeah, I liked the way they painted them, and I'm wondering if I should paint them non-traditionally like that, because they're really faded now, because I think they just used Walmart paint. And, you need to use some good paint on them. But yeah, I think that's one of the things I liked about them, is they kind of had, maybe I'll make one green or something. I don't know. Not sure. That'll come down the road. We can talk about that later. Isn't it weird? Are you seeing me at all in the frame?
No, we just see
Nope, I see two lions and a turtle.
Because every time I post a picture, I disappear, and that didn't used to happen. Remember, I would have to put it on green screen to get that to work, and I'd have to duck out of the way or whatever. I don't know what the hell.
Well, it's because you're using Face Rig that takes up the whole screen.
Right, because before I was just using the webcam and filming myself. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
So are you like a hotel or something, Timmy? Or?
No, I'm at Tammy's house. She's got this big, like 3 or 4 story house next door to Judy's.
Oh boy, she must be a multimillionaire.
Well, her husband probably, I don't know what he did for a living, but he did okay.
Yeah. But no, it's just from living in Los Angeles. This dump I'm in now is supposedly worth $600,000.
Oh wow.
It wouldn't give you $50.
I mean, honestly, I think this house would maybe pull 300,000. Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of a large house, but it's old. It was built in like '97.
I mean, if I could find a job that paid what I make now full time anywhere else in the country, I could live like a fucking king. I could live like Gottschalk with his Rolexes and his new cars.
I say 3 or 4 stories.
Do it, Tony, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to buy some land in Middle America, and I want to build a compound.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well,
the thing is, what I always wanted to do, I used to love road trip. Me and my mom used to go road tripping in the VW Bug. It was just, and we'd always try to find these motels where there were little cabins. So they were like either separated or sort of semi-separated, and had little kitchenettes in them.
Yeah.
And I'd love to buy one of those. Just find one of those, and just maybe fix each cabin up one by one as finances permit.
Do it, Tony.
Yeah, and just have friends there, and people can stay and whatever.
Yeah.
We can buy the Bohemian Grove and check out what goes on there.
There you go.
Well, Putt already bought the Georgia Guidestones and accidentally burned them down or something.
Yeah, I did. I wrecked them. I'm sorry.
Now, speaking of burning stuff, on Easter Island, they got the big stone dudes with the big noses and shit, and they're all like standing this way and that way. And somebody said, "Oh, they caught fire. They were destroyed. They caught fire." I said, "They're fucking rock. How the hell can rock catch fire?"
It didn't.
Maybe that's the next thing you should do for your Neon Wrangler
Could be
thing.
brimstone, yeah.
I could go there and see what they did. Somebody knocked them down, and then they found out what was under them, and it was like a Playgirl magazine and some other bullshit that was just irrelevant, but of course people here in Georgia, depending on your, I guess, I don't know what the right word would be, ilk, were convinced they were satanic because they couldn't read everything on them.
Yeah.
And it was about how to restart the world after a disaster. But these people decided that was bad, so they knocked over the Guidestones, and it was stupid.
I honestly thought it was the people that made the Guidestones, that they didn't want people to know what they were up to, so they just took them down. Because my thing is that my whole thing about it was, okay, someone knocked one of them down, and then they bulldoze the rest of them 2 hours later. It's like, usually there's a crime scene in police tape and an investigation before they just bulldoze the rest of it. That's what I thought it was almost like the Osama bin Laden. It's like, yeah, we killed him. Well, where is he? Oh, we did a burial at sea. What? What do you mean you did a burial at sea?
They didn't do that. They just didn't want anybody venerating his grave. I can guarantee you his body is somewhere in Annapolis or someplace like that, or whatever, wherever they put the bodies of dead people they don't like, or something like that.
So that's the house I'm staying in,
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
and you can see to the right of it is Judy's house. So that's how close it is.
Oh yeah. That's very European style.
Yeah, this was Google Street, so that was taken some winter. It's prettier than that now,
Yeah.
but
Oh, that's pretty peculiar there, I tell you that.
it is peculiar. This place is kind of always, we would go to Peculiar ever since I was a baby and go there and visit. So it's always had a special place in my heart. And I'm going to take they've got candelabras that are in the kitchen that are light switch. They're you turn on a light switch and they're red little orange flames that wiggle on the candelabras, and it's like a faux brick wall in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I've always loved it. It was like Dungeons and Dragons. It would have been a perfect Dungeons and Dragons room with the little flickering ambiance. And I think I'm going to take those candelabras home. Now, some fireman or someone told them, well, anything that was plugged in, you got to throw it away. And I'm just like thinking, I think that's with things with microchips and capacitors and stuff. I wouldn't think a lamp would be something you'd have to throw away.
Yeah.
I think people just make shit up to try to sound smarter than they are.
Well, they're telling them that anything, everything needs to be thrown out. You can't wear any clothes that'll get in your bloodstream. And they're saying, any kind of collectibles that have smoke yet. I'm just like, I've never heard this in my life.
Yeah.
They sell stuff on Amazon that gets the smoke out, and it's just I've never heard any of that. My dad was a fireman. All of his clothes were covered with smoke and all of his stuff. I've never heard of that. I mean, I can understand not putting on a Halloween mask that has smoke damage, something that you could get that in your lungs, but just a collectible car or something. You just get the smoke off it and get on.
The uniform I've ever taken off and actually threw away and burned. And I actually burned this uniform. As I had to go into a house where an old lady had been dead for like a week.
Wow.
And I was in there for like 5-6 hours. And that death smell just would not, it was just like, I'm burning everything that.
Yeah.
How did you even stand? How could you even do it without getting sick, for 5 or 6?
Well, that's where I learned Vicks Vapor Rub in the nose.
Yep. Put it under your nose and then
wear a mask over the top of it. And
yep.
I mean, I just stand there continuously for like 5 hours. I mean, I was in and out. I went in when I needed to take some pictures, out, let the coroner do their thing, go in and out, and.
Wow.
Yep.
What was it, Mythbusters or someone? They took a Corvette and they put a dead pig in it and left it in the sun, and they said it like ruined the Corvette, that they couldn't salvage anything off the car or something.
Well, they say, yeah, I'm sure they did, but I've lost complete faith in Mythbusters because they got so many things wrong. They, like they were saying that Carlos Hathcock couldn't have made the shot through the enemy scope because it had some kind of little bar in it. And I'm like, that's just not true. I mean, he made that shot and it's legendary. You know what I mean? Unless the bullet went, kind of bounced off and went through there. But, I think.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. They had one that said there was an urban legend that if a drive shaft popped off your car from the front, it could flip the car if you hit a pothole. And so they tried it with this like 68 big Plymouth, and it didn't. It tore up the Plymouth's trunk, and it did bucket in the air, but it didn't flip it. So they looted it as false. But that Plymouth weighed 4,000 pounds. So that doesn't mean they debunked the myth. It just didn't happen to that particular car.
That's what I was going to say.
Right.
Mythbusters. This is where I kind of always went with Mythbusters. One, they were just fun to watch.
They were fun to watch because they blew a lot of
but they're
stuff
reenacting. They're reenacting a situation one time when they don't know what all the variable conditions were.
Right.
For whatever they were trying to myth bust.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
And you got to understand, neither of them were engineers or scientists. Adam Savage, the guy that likes to show his teeth, which made me sick on the show, he would always get close to the camera and like put his teeth up there. Yeah.
Is he the main guy, the younger guy?
The younger guy, and he built what his job before Mythbusters was building props for Star Trek. He built Deep Space Nine. He built a lot of the props for the show. And then the other guy, the walrus dude, liked him or whatever for whatever reason. And he was doing basically the same thing. So they hired him. So you got basically two guys who aren't engineers, who aren't scientists.
But wasn't the other guy a pyrotechnics expert, and he was one like blew up Adam Savage's models and shit? And
something like that. Yeah, he was. And
but pyrotechnics are a total different thing than a real bomb or a real explosion. I think they kind of touched on that a couple times too. What a real bomb would do to a car. It's very unspectacular, but a lot more deadly with the shrapnel and stuff.
I remember the time they blew up some car in a pit, and it ended up shooting a. Why do I want to say a cannonball? They did something stupid, and they put a cannonball through somebody's house. And I just have, I shouldn't say I have no respect for them because the show was fun to watch, but they didn't get shit right. I mean, like Gottschalk said, they do a thing once and not knowing all the variables, not knowing all that other stuff. I even think they got the wrong rifle that, when they did the Hathcock thing, or they weren't very good shots or something like that because, this.
I mean, to be honest with you, a sniper like Carlos Hathcock and most military snipers spend years.
Yes.
Modifying their rifle to where even the shoulder part fits perfectly with the groove of their face, fits perfectly. I mean everything about that rifle is so so specified for that particular shooter. It's
Can you guys check our YouTube stream, because I don't see a Tony and I want to make sure we're even on.
Oh, I don't see Tony right now either, but I see our chat.
But is there anybody in chat? Are we still going?
I was talking to Steve. Yeah.
Yes,
Because
we're still there.
I played our YouTube and it still had Tony in frame, that would have been minutes ago. So
yeah, there's no delay.
Okay. I just didn't see you, and I was wondering what's going on with. So.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all good. I just want to make sure we're still streaming. So
we're still streaming, but yeah, a sniper like Carlos Hathcock, who worked alone, had to even be better than modern snipers who usually used a spotter. They usually do that, and the spotter is usually the more senior guy, and the other guy pulling the trigger is the less senior guy. And Carlos would do this shit on his own. He'd crawl through ant hills, he'd crawl through dirt and plants and all that kind of shit and stickers, and he'd make these shots because he'd trained for years, probably even before he got into the Corps, and he was just it's hard to you hear his stories. He's not a braggart. He would just explain how he did things.
I mean, Carlos Hathcock, when he would get a mission, he would spend a week in the jungle. I mean, he wanted to smell like the jungle.
Yeah.
When he went out.
Yep. He would spend and he'd tell stories about one time he killed a Vietnamese officer. And they said he said, well, I had about a 3-second window. And they go, well, how did you calculate that? And he goes, well, the guy was getting a cup of coffee, and the guy poured his coffee and was starting to drink it. And he goes, that's when I knew I had to take my shot. And he, killed the dude. And then another time there was some female Vietnamese horrible person that was leading a group of Vietnamese soldiers, and she decided she needed to break off and go take a pee. And he said he could see her men telling her not to do that, but she did it anyway. And as soon as she did it, he popped her right in the middle he just bam, hit her right in the chest. And, the guy knew exactly what he was doing. And, you don't, I'm going to trust a guy like him who wasn't, he wasn't bragging about it. He was just explaining it. You know what I mean? And, we know, I don't know how many kills he had, but, that's why whenever I see the Mythbusters take one shot or two shots and try to do this, that it's like, okay, you've got you've got a kindergartner trying to use a, I don't know, trying to drive a, you know, a Mustang like you're doing, like you have, Timmy, and you know, and they don't do so well. But then you get an expert driver, and they know exactly what they're doing. You know. What I mean?
Yeah, and the MythBusters aren't experts at anything except movie props and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. You know, because you know, a good cop that's gonna. I mean, this boils down to the cops, and guys, Chuck, you can tell me if I'm wrong or right here. But whenever we would go out on the driving range, you know, we had our driving instructors check all the pressure on our tires, check all this other shit before we even got out on the driving range. You know, because, you know, you're not going to be wanting to scrub off speed or break tires or whatever you're going to do. You know, you have to know exactly what you're doing to make these things work. And, you know, and then, you know, there was another time when they did I'm still skeptical about this, when they shot a frozen chicken through an airplane window, and then they shot a regular chicken through an airplane window. And I'm like, okay, well, good for you guys. I mean, you know, what are we trying to prove here? Because it's not chickens going through windows that we're so worried about, even though that might have been what they're talking about. It's about birds getting into the.
Yeah, well, you use a chicken. I've seen it at McDonnell Douglas. I saw the film of it, but the frozen chicken of course, came from a joke, because the frozen chicken won't show you anything. An actual regular chicken, what they'll do is they'll kill it right before they send it into either an engine or a windshield or something like that, just for the effect of bird strikes. I've seen footage of them throwing 5 of them into a jet engine, and that was fun to watch.
Not like barbecue.
Well, the whole engine just bouncing around and shaking around, but it did hold together. I mean, you know, that's Captain Sullenberger. He both engines full of just like a whole flock of geese just went into both engines. He had no power. He was like, you know, 10 feet off the ground.
So what did you ever? I wonder if a jet's ever like been, you know, way up there, like a 707 with the 4 engines, and this big flock of chickens just go through all 4 engines at once.
Yeah, it's a Russian.
Nesman was throwing turkeys out of helicopters.
Yeah, there you go.
So did you guys ever? Oh, go ahead.
It's a Russian plot. They're attacking us with chickens.
Yeah. Well, you know, they use chickens because, you know, a bird is a bird. They're not going to go out and trap fucking golden eagles and throw them into fucking airplane engines. You know, the chicken will do.
It would be okay if they were all roosters, noisy bastards. Did you ever just under your knee just to get your leg to pop up? Because that's what I find. Because I'm not in a normal position. I'm sitting on a bed, and I'm finding that's what I'm doing. I'm just tapping below my knee, watching or feeling the reflex. It's fun. God gives us these little fun things to do.
Oh, there you
go. So Big Judy, she got a text. You know, one of these startling news alert texts. And the news alert was Justin Timberlake's getting a divorce.
Oh, nice.
Like, what? Yeah, they call the civil service, you know, sirens. You know?
Amber
civil
alert.
defense sirens, you know. It's like
Amber alert. Justin Timberlake's getting a divorce.
Yeah.
Beware, he's bringing sexy back.
Oh my gosh! And she was watching some show. It was who was that? Kelly Clarkson, I guess. Some American Idol person's got her own show, and I'm just like, shoot me. And they had a commercial for that, you know, the smelly women commercial.
The smelly woman is a doctor, and she invented that stuff.
Yeah, but this doctor wasn't the same smelly woman. It was actually a different commercial because it wasn't gross like the other. She was just talking about it. So it was better than that other one where she was putting her foot in our face and pulling her boobs up. And it's like, you know what? I want to get to know somebody a little bit, or at least approve them before they do start doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Just because that presumptuous. So they had Kevin Costner. I can't stand that guy. I never could. And they had him on there talking about, does he have something to do with that Yellowstone or something? I don't know.
There's a show.
He starts talking about how women made the West and how we took all the Indians' land. And it was 100 degrees out, and I took my computer because I was working on the cover art for the the album, and I just went outside in the 100-degree heat and worked on it because I couldn't stand it anymore.
Well, I watched the first like 4 episodes of Yellowstone, and I was bored shitless. I mean, it was just.
It gets a lot better.
Does it?
Yeah.
Kathy Coleman, when I was talking to her on the pool deck last year, she said, my favorite shows, I thought she said Big Yellow Sun, and I thought, oh, that's kind of a neat name. What's it about? And she said, no, Yellowstone. I'm like, I kind of liked it when you said Big Yellow Sun. I thought that was kind of a neat name. And it influenced a lyric on one of my songs that's called It's Friday, and there's a lyric that says Blue Dolphin, Yellow Sun. The day's begun. And it's, I got that. I got that from that little anecdote. So
Yeah.
Oh, I got a good story for you guys today. There was
You slipped in the shower, twisted your hand.
no, not that one. I'll tell that one in a minute.
it's not that funny.
EMI was they had a computer department, and the guy that was working on the computers was working his ass off to get computers working, and EMI was running out of money big time, and so they said the only way we can keep you on is if we get a big infusion of money. Well, EMI also had records, you know what I mean? They made records, and they decided to sign a band, okay, to do the to do the band thing, and when they signed this band, then all of a sudden they just started making millions, and that was the Beatles. And the aftermath of that was the guy was able to complete his computer work, and he made the CRT scanner, the magnetic one that you go into, and it can magnetically image your whole body or your head or whatever. So we have the I can't even think of the name of it. I've been into them. I've been in them like 5 times. The CRT scanner where they slide you into
like an MRI machine or a CAT scan.
Yeah, MRI, exactly, and the CAT scan MRI thing. And if we hadn't, the Beatles were indirectly responsible for creating the CAT scan.
Yeah, but they were also responsible indirectly for communism.
Who, the Beatles?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
All they were saying is give peace. Imagine there's no heaven. Imagine
that
there's no
wasn't the
country.
Beatles. That was just John Lennon.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and communism started probably about 100 years before that, but it's okay.
It's called a joke.
All right, yeah, but the jokes are generally supposed to be funny, though.
Yeah.
You got to have.
Hey, guess what I did? I found something that's more mesmerizing than even Art Garfunkel while you're going on the highway. So,
what's that?
I went to visit Mona a couple nights ago, and it wasn't a night, but it was afternoon, and I was driving. I was driving to Garden City where they live, and I was I was rehearsing my play.
Uh-huh.
What I do on road trips is beforehand, I take the scene, and if there's like a woman talking, I'll be like, doing her voice, and I'll pitch it up, and then I'll do my line and so forth, and I'll listen to it, and that's how I learn my lines. So I'm doing this on the way, and then I'm thinking, well, that water tower and those trees up there, that must be Garden City right there. They have a water tower. I'm going up, and then that's not it. That's Archie. So I'm going up again, and that must be it. No, that's something else. And I'm like, keep going and going, and finally I'm thinking, wait a second. I was supposed to turn on Highway 7, like right past Harrisonville, and then I had to go another 5 miles to turn around in Butler. And by the time I made my U-turn and came back, I had lost 40 minutes altogether because it was 20 minutes each way. So it was probably 15 minutes before I realized that I missed my exit. I felt like such a dum-dum, but it was funny. We all got a good laugh about it. But and I really learned some lines in that little getting lost in space thing. But goodness, I felt dumb. You know what? Did you ever think I'm getting old, that I'm forgetting a lot more than I used to?
Yeah, we all do that.
Wait 10 years, dude.
Oh,
boy.
I used to make when I used to get hired to do plays and all that shit back in Denver, when I was a semi-pro actor, I guess you'd call it. My reputation was that I could learn a script in a whole day, and I would. They could hand me the script, and by that evening, I'd have it memorized. And and not only that, but I would, once I got it memorized, I'd start working on the interpretation of the lines, and I'm not sure what even my coworkers, I wouldn't stick to what I'd thought of, but I would listen to them, and then I would respond very naturally to them. And, but I got a lot of work that way because I could do it.
You think you could do it now?
Possibly. I don't know, because my brain ain't what it was, but I'm taking this stuff.
I don't think any of us is what it was.
Oh, God.
No, I'm doing this stuff. I'm taking this stuff called lion's mane, which is really helping my cognitive shit.
Oh, I gotta try that.
Yeah.
Like I tried to.
Lion's
I tried to
butt? What's it
draw
called?
again.
Lion's mane? Is that like an
lion's
herbal
mane.
thing?
Yeah, lion's mane. Let me see if I got a bottle here.
What was that got, Sean?
Like I tried to draw again like a year or two ago, and my drawing days are apparently over.
Not necessarily. You just have to find your stride again.
No, my hands are just. I don't see it when I'm holding my hand here, but when I'm trying to draw, I've got all these like micro trimmers and stuff, and it just.
Well, maybe that's part of training yourself to draw again.
Yeah, it's part of it. I mean, you gotta hang on a second.
I was
my bottle.
walking into my room a couple days ago, and I tripped over something and fell, and I was carrying a cup of coffee, and I managed to save about 3/4 of that cup of coffee. I was proud of myself.
Oh, good for you. That's good.
But if I'm going to start falling down, that's not one of the good things about being older. It's like shit.
Now, the other night when Lauren had those handcuffs on her wrist, you remember to have the keyholes on the outside, not the inside?
Yeah. Well, both of them were on one side, so it was okay. I just kind of wonder, really?
No, but I'm saying, they were on that one wrist.
Yeah.
But, keyholes are only on one side of the handcuff.
Ah.
So, if you put the two sides together where the key's going to go, you're going to have a hard time getting the key in there to unlock the handcuff.
Oh, right. Okay.
She was wearing real handcuffs?
No.
You know what I don't understand is I've got necklaces, and people make them for me and stuff. And the catch, why does the catch have to be so small that you have to have like mouse fingers to actually?
Because they figure you have a servant to fucking do it for you. Yeah,
I know, because you got to do it behind your neck, and you've got to pull that little thing open on the ring thing and put it in. And how the hell do you do that behind your? It's so I don't understand.
Well, what you do is you do it in front, and then you swing it, you spin it around. But I actually had to do that for Lauren one time. Actually, via my fucking eyesight, and I was amazed I was able to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why we always make a big deal of it.
Are those like fake press-on nails she has on every day?
No, they're kind of permanent, I guess. They don't just come off. Oh, there we go.
Turn it around.
What the hell is he showing us?
That's his elephant butt, or whatever the hell it's called.
Elephant butt.
It's like 10 minutes, I like forgot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, you got to hold it because of the. Yeah, you got to hold it in front of your face. Here you go, but not so that it covers your face. So back it away from the camera.
Back it away.
Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect. Real mushrooms.
Yep.
And lion's mane, which is not to be confused with Gucci mane, which is some kind of thing that the kids are into.
Horse's mane doesn't work either,
Well, the mane and tail shampoo, a lot of people buy. I used to buy it, but after a while, I just got regular shampoo again. I thought it was like.
I was at Walmart this past week, and I was buying some new sugar. I didn't realize they still made the men's all-in-one soap, conditioner, shampoo bottles.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Apparently, they still make that stuff, where man can just use one thing to,
Well, yeah. I thought that was all anybody used.
That's the men with short hair, and only gay men have short hair like that.
No, that's not true. Because that's what I use.
Okay, our first wrong channel moment. Come on, guys. Yeah.
Instead of saying full body, soap, shampoo, and conditioner all in one, why don't they just call it button face, Or
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the one I get says good for hair, body,
Feet,
all that
floors.
stuff, and it says for waxing floors, for cleaning engines.
cleaning engines.
Could you imagine if Mr. Clean had a shampoo or a, body wash now?
Uh-huh.
It's not like that one commercial where he opens his pants up and sprays down.
But did you ever use gunk on an engine? You remember
I
gunk?
remember having a bottle of it one time.
Yeah, it
used to-
smells like kerosene, and it seems like it made a bigger mess than it was attempting to clean up.
Yeah.
I think I remember that now. Yeah.
I think I bought a clear bottle of it. It was kind of a yellowish, amberish color inside the bottle. I think I bought a bottle of it one time, used it on something, and then it sat on a shelf for like 20 years.
That's how everything is.
Remember Goop? Do they even still make Goop for your hands?
They might.
Yes, they do.
Because it seemed like
Goop,
Fast
yeah.
Orange kind of took its place because it wasn't near as gross.
Well, I used to use Goop whenever I'd work on my 76 Impala,
Yeah.
to clean it and stuff like that, and then I'd use Goop to wash my hands.
Goop just kind of came in that bucket that you just kind of reached your hand into.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
And the trick was not to really use too much of it, because it really a little goes a long way.
And another trick is you can't use it with wet hands or you're just...
Yeah, no, it won't, because it needs to
Whistling Dixie.
leach
And,
into the skin.
I think Fast Orange, even though it smells better, I think it's more abrasive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got the
Well, it's
pumice in it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got pumice in it, yeah.
Right.
What's that stuff they use in the Army? That True Green or whatever?
Acetone?
Well, it was called, I don't know if it was acetone.
So it was Simple Green.
Oh, Simple Green,
Simple Green.
which to me always smelled sort of like Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, Steve is in our chat. He says, how are you doing? Hey, Steve. Come on in, man.
Yeah.
Show
Is
your
there
face.
anybody
That's
in
the
any
one
other
buddy you don't
chats?
want.
Well, there shouldn't be any other chats.
Okay.
It's not
Yeah,
like it's right now. We're
not
only
on
going
15
to.
other Facebook pages.
Yeah. What he said. Yeah, there shouldn't be anything else going on. I mean, the BabbleGab is just an event that points
Direct
to
you here.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when I shared it, I said join us in the YouTube chat. So
Yeah.
Yep.
hopefully people get the gist.
Well, apparently Lewis couldn't find us, so.
Yeah, Lewis does everything on his phone, and I can't figure out phones myself yet. I'm not a boomer, but I think Xers can get away with not knowing everything about phones either.
Well, the problem with doing everything on the phone, it's kind of like performing open heart surgery on an ant. Everything's so tiny.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't
And
like.
there's some options that just like Facebook, you can't really search through your timeline and stuff on it seems like there's features that just aren't on the phone,
Well, yeah.
Well, they're there, but you have to drill down like 4 menus to get near them.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
And then also, if you increase your font size on your phone, then everything's all scattered around and
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
weird.
Right.
I guess the Nigerians, hijacked, the car dealership software.
Yeah.
Out now asking them for $50 million to release it, and
Oh, nice.
pretty much every dealership in America is now doing everything by hand right now.
Oh, cool.
They're not selling any cars anyway because of that stupid EV crap that that scam. But I thought maybe I thought maybe they told all the dealers that they would give them their software back if they gave their boyfriend, the African boyfriends, money and stuff.
Ah.
That
Yeah.
didn't go anywhere. Or princes. It's not really princes anymore. It's boyfriends.
It's called ransomware.
Yeah.
But I think Lewis added me this week on Facebook, so I said hi to him.
Lewis is
And,
cool. He's a nice kid.
Yeah, he does look like a.
So is Fidesco. Fidesco is his best friend. He calls him his brother.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, Lewis seems like a pretty nice guy.
Oh, there's Laura. Okay, now we finally. How you doing?
Hi, Laura.
Hey, Laura.
I'm here for a little while because I'm at my cousin's house and I got to visit them too. So, But yeah. Glad I'm here. I hadn't talked to you guys in a while.
Welcome to the new BabbleGab format here on YouTube,
Yeah.
where we're doing our
I'm sure they'll
thing.
kick us off this eventually. So
Well, not a question of being kicked off. It's just that the Facebook interface is so clunky, and YouTube's a little bit better at it, but still.
Well, Facebook did what YouTube did to Apology 9. It's like they said, hey, Apology 9, do you want to be a partner? I'm like, sure. So I had the option to get monetized and everything else. And then years later, they're just like, well, you can't be a partner anymore because you have to have 1,000 subscribers and like 3,000 views an hour to become. But we're still going to put ads on all of your videos. You're just not going to get money for them.
Yeah.
So on my videos for YouTube, I put the first comment, we do not put ads on our videos. And so Facebook did something similar. They let us stream all these years, and now they're just saying, well, you've got to have a bunch of subscribers or page likes or whatever, or followers, whatever, before you can do that.
Oh, and by the way, if you're watching us, hit the subscribe button. Give us a like.
Yeah,
and
subscribe to BabbleGab.
Yeah, we're almost. I won't say we're almost there, but we only got like 70.
99.
We need 100 to get our streaming. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it back on Facebook.
No,
It's
I'd just rather do it here because, and then also when you're doing the subscribe thing, hit the little down arrow, and it gives you 3 choices: all, personalized, and none. And personalized is you're dealing with some robot who thinks, oh, he might like this. No, they won't like that. But just hit all, so it's easier.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we'd rather have you subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think that's a more important sub thing, because when people go on YouTube and they see you got a lot of hits and a lot of subscribers, it makes them want to. Because I mean, honestly, if let's say you want to watch a video on a certain subject, if it pulls you up one and it's got 3 views, are you even going to click on it?
I am, because I don't even notice that kind of shit. But
Well, there's a reason, and it's not always, because I mean, Apology None doesn't have a lot of traffic, and I really believe in our stuff. But a lot of times, there's people that do blogs, and they don't have a microphone properly, and there's an echo, or they're too far away from the camera, and there's a lot of like amateurish things, and it makes it harder to appreciate the content.
yeah.
Yep.
And you find that people that do a little better, that they have better setup.
And also, because at my work, which is tvon.com, we're on Dish Network, DirecTV, if you like jewelry and stuff and so on. But we do Dish Direct and the TV stations and all that shit. But we do Facebook Live and YouTube. And a typical show will have maybe 15 to 20 viewers on Facebook and 100 on YouTube.
There you go.
Yeah.
And as far as I can tell on Facebook, it's the same woman out of North Carolina.
People tend to like monopolize the chat in the Facebook thing. They feel like they got to comment on everything. They usually calm down after a while, though.
So how you doing, Laura? What you got going on?
She says, oh, so that explains when you guys were asking people to like the page. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
We want you to like and subscribe to BabbleGab.
Yeah.
And it helps the algorithm. When you get more likes and stuff, it kind of puts the page out there more.
That's
Yep,
true.
and-
And I discovered something that when they talk about algorithm, they're actually not, it doesn't have anything to do with Al Gore,
Really?
Nope.
But he invented the internet.
apparently.
Yep.
I think the
So he
Pentagon
says.
would disagree. So
Who?
I think the Pentagon would disagree.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't
yeah.
invent
Well,
anything.
ARPA
except
and DARPA
bureaucracy
and all
red
that.
tape.
Well, actually, I think Sweden would disagree. Sweden is the one that started the internet. And
I thought all they invented was hardcore porn and Volvos.
Yeah,
And
that was
Howard.
it. Well,
No,
you think of the Tim Berners-Lee, yeah, the World Wide Web, the HTTP:// whichever, back and forward. But
Yep.
the original the network is DARPA, the Defense something
they
Advanced
communicate
Research
with each
Projects
other,
Administration, and that goes all the way back to like 1970.
Hey, does Big Bob still go? BigMemoryLane.com, HTTP
Oh, he
forward slash.
finally quit doing that.
He finally quit.
But no,
doing
he's
that.
got a bit. We've got a new thing now. You could listen to Big Bob's Memory Lane show on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern or 6 a.m. Pacific. On one of his affiliates has it on a phone where you can call the phone number and listen to it over phone audio in wonderful mono.
There you go. You can listen to us on your phone too.
Here's a question for you. Speaking of the World Wide Web, what was the first thing you saw that was World Wide Web that made you go, what the hell is that?
That's a good question.
I can tell you exactly what mine was.
What was yours?
I had one of those magazines or something back in, I would say, the early to mid 90s. And it said, go to this www dot something, and I was like, what the hell is that?
Uh-huh.
And I don't even remember what it was, but I remember seeing it in a magazine, and I was like,
because I knew that the whole thing was actually going to really be something. I was watching, I think, the 98 Daytona 500, and I would see URLs on the race cars. I thought, it's catching on.
Well, I think with me, I was kind of a late bloomer. I wasn't too interested. I think, who was it, Bush or Clinton? Or it was somebody that was like calling it the information superhighway and all that. Yeah. And I didn't have much interest. I kind of knew what they were talking about, but I'm like, whatever.
Again, early to mid 90s.
Yeah.
Well, I got I got the actual internet in 95.
Well, I remember when I used to go to, like Gottschalk said, I'd go to a hobby store and I'd get a magazine. And at the back of the magazine, they had all these numbers for BBSs.
Yeah, that was pre-internet, really, because it was local.
Look at Putt's hair. It almost looks, with the reflection, it looks like he's got a full head of hair on top.
I do.
I like that look, Putt. It looks good. You ought to get like a toupee or hair implants in the top of your head, because you don't even need it in the front. You look good. Look at that.
Thank you. Look
at that. Look at Putt. He looks like he's 30 years old.
What was that stupid BBS that had the freaking dog in it?
I don't remember.
What?
There was this chat room that Putt was part of, and a couple of other friends before. I think Darren. No, maybe not Darren.
Was it that ICP, ITC?
IP Freely, yeah.
I get IRQ, and no.
We're talking about IRC. That's totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a chat room, and there was, I think the dog's name was Brewster or something. And you could say, Brewster, bark, and it would go, bark, and...
Yeah.
It was just like well, I guess what we call IA. It wasn't even IA. It was just a program there. But, people would be in there talking all the time. And, I mean, you could go on at 2 o'clock in the morning and be people in there talking,
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was something new, I think, okay, so what it was is I went to Darren's house, and this had been about 98, I guess, or 97, 98, and it was my first experience. And I went online and I started finding things about ELO, like at ELO fan sites, and then I went to a couple chat rooms, and I think one was a Willy Wonka chat room and one was an ELO chat room, and that's basically my first experience doing that. And that was interesting, and it was 99, I think, when I bought my first gateway computer with the internet and all that, and I had Earthlink, which was it wasn't a high speeder. It was a dial-up, but it was a good dial-up. And I don't remember ever really having trouble doing anything. Of course, I didn't download movies, but everything else seemed to be relatively quick.
You couldn't download a movie. Remember trying to download a porn picture and it would go line by line?
Oh, I remember when JPEG said they would render one line.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't with Earthlink. It didn't really do that. But maybe it had to do with it being kind of late, like in '99. Maybe everything was getting a little faster.
All I know is
might have been. I remember the first time I mean, after I'd been on the BBSs, the first thing I did, I had a computer, and the first thing I did was download CompuServe.
Good old CompuServe.
Yeah, and I liked CompuServe, and I would go into chat rooms and talk to people and all that, or we'd mess with people. I remember one guy was like all like being I don't know what you'd call him, but he was like, "Oh, I wish all the children in the world were safe and all that." And we would come in and just we'd hijack his little poems, and he goes, "They're not poems, they're hand scripts." So he'd say some line like, "I wish all the children were safe," and we'd say something like, from alligators or something like that, just messing him up and making him so mad. So then he would go to a different chat room and we'd all follow him to that and just mess up his stuff. But no, I remember enjoying CompuServe, and I remember my friend came over and he goes, "Well, where's all the porn?" And I said, "I don't know. I mean, I haven't really. I saw some on the BBSs, but I. And so what we did is, CompuServe had a browser, a www browser. So I typed in www, htt, www, whatever, and I just put in hot porn, and of course a porn site comes up, and I said, "Well, I guess there it is."
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
I'll be back, fellas. I'm going to say hi to some people, and then I'll be right back in a little bit,
right.
okay?
Okay.
Since I'm
I remember
visiting.
one of the things that Putt and I used to connect peer-to-peer
Oh yeah, I
back in the
remember
early
that.
days with damn Mech Warrior.
Oh yeah,
He'd
God.
send he would send little drones after me and blow my ass up all the time.
That was a fun game.
And I heard
The
about, but
original
never
Mech Warrior.
participated. People would actually drag their computers to somebody's house and set up a LAN network and network all their computers together and play their games.
Yeah.
They'd have a
I
LAN party.
think you and I actually connected through a BBS or something, didn't we? Because you were at your house and I was at my house.
We would connect through a BBS. We
Yeah.
didn't have to go to each other's houses, and we could play all these games, And I remember, you remember whenever I was playing that Star Trek game, and you came up, you called me and you said, "I defeated the cloaking device." I said, "How'd you do that?" And he goes, "Turn your brightness all the way up on your monitor."
Oh yeah.
That was so funny. I turned it up, and then you could see the
Romulan ships.
the Romulan ships all cloaked, but they were just slightly less black than the.
You could just make them out where you could shoot at them.
You could shoot at them and blow them to bits, and I was like, "You did
Isn't
it?"
that the same game where you had to help me break that one riddle where the civilization had 3 fingers, so you had to figure out mathematical equations and
Yeah, it was
Digits or
exactly
some
that.
shit.
Yeah, I had to figure out about how to do math in trinary, and not, what we have,
decimal, or decimal.
not in decimal. Yeah, I had to figure out how to do it in a trinary fashion, and yeah, that's how I did it. Yeah, but I remember that. Yeah, it's when I had to help you. Yeah, and because I was struggling with it too at the time, and I was like, okay, I need to think this through, and it's like, okay, this is a trinary number system, and it was a
It
little
was
bit
what?
complicated.
It was what? 1, 2, 3 or 0, 1, 2?
Yeah, it would be zero.
Zero,
But if they
1, 2.
would they had 3 fingers on each hand, or just one hand, or
Yes, it was a civilization that only had they were like.
then it would have been base 6 though.
No,
I-
they didn't count all their fingers. They only had 3 fingers. They would count one hand. Was the
that's
way
dumb.
you did it.
Just the way it was.
At least we
It was-
use both hands.
Because I remember the clue was just you had to figure it out in a trinary fashion,
Right. Yep.
and then Wing Commander came out.
Oh, Wing Commander was awesome. God, that was a good game.
I remember when I had my Commodore 64 with a little disk drive,
Yep.
and I was playing the F-117 stealth fighter, and everything was just straight lines. Everything was just line gridded as you were
Yeah.
flying over countries, and
Right.
targets were little dots on the ground that you had to
But you surpassed me in Wing Commander. You got better than me, and you were able to take out some of those, big ass capital ships when I couldn't do it yet.
Yeah, my original 286, or 386, whatever it was when I first got my first real computer.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, I got mine in '93. It was a 386 SX. Boy, oh boy, it was a Tandy. Boy, from good old Radio Shack. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it came preloaded with Prodigy and AOL. And this was DOS-based Prodigy and DOS-based AOL. Yes, they had such a thing. And they charged you to dial in. And I got the first bill back from AOL. It looked like a car payment because it was per hour. And Prodigy,
And
no, it was just it was a
that.
flat fee per month. Thank God.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was,
yeah, the good old days.
Yeah.
When you had the little thing on top of your desktop computer with the red flashing lights on there, so when you were connected at 414 baud, and
yep.
kids today wouldn't even understand what the hell 414 baud is.
Yeah.
No, and they wouldn't understand the phone modems either, where you couldn't be on the phone with somebody else on the phone. You
Right.
had to tuck it in the cradle and wait for that sound, that wee, wee, wee. And then you were online and stuff.
And then you were online downloading for the next 5 hours.
Oh yeah.
And then it was always notorious when you were like 97%, somebody would pick up the phone on the other side.
Yeah. Of course.
Yep. Mom, get off the phone. I remember I had a lot of fun playing like Duke Nukem on that too. They had
What was the one I liked? The guy on the motorcycle.
oh yeah, I remember
Was
that
that Full
one.
Throttle or something like that? Or
Something like that, and they had all the music in the background, and he was on some kind of adventure.
yeah.
And I remember one of the songs was Whiskey, Chitlins, and Skirts.
Ah.
I remember the game. That game was a lot of fun. I don't remember.
Well,
the,
that was back in the day when like Micro Prose was coming out with all the games. They had,
Yeah.
like, Silent Service and
Yeah.
Gunship and Pirates. Pirates was fun.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that motorcycle game. I liked that one.
I think it was called Full Throttle, if I remember
I
correctly.
think so. Yeah. That one was a blast.
Yep.
And then trying to think of what else. The Star Trek game was good. And then I love the Mech Warrior too. And then trying to think if there's other ones I played on there.
Well, then X-Wing and TIE Fighter came out, and that was
Oh God, those were great. TIE Fighter was even better.
yep.
Yep. TIE Fighter was a fucking awesome game.
That's probably when I got my 486.
Oh yeah.
They just need to re-release TIE Fighter. Everybody would play it.
They do. You just got to go on Steam and download it.
Okay.
Now it plays like shit on your computer because it's an emulation system. But
Ah.
Right. Oh God. But no, that was a lot of fun. I remember TIE Fighter was great.
And I remember I got the 486, and I think it was a 486DX.
Yeah.
And then they never came out with a 586 because that's when they came out with a Pentium 1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Basically they just called it Pentium instead of 586.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then at one time I had a computer that had the Pentium dual core, and
Oh man. Yep. Those were cool. Those were a lot of fun.
still had a big ass CRT TV though,
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember when we did that though, Star Trek. Turn up your brightness, man. You can see the Romulans.
Yep. I remember that. And I was talking to guys. I said, "Yeah, you defeated the cloaking device. This is awesome." And then I just tear those ships apart, man.
There's always a way to defeat the cloaking device.
Yep.
Ugh. Wow.
They need to make a Klingon game where you play Klingon fleet, and
They do.
they do.
Yeah. I had one of my Xbox 360 for a little while called Starfleet Command or something like
Ah.
that. And you can play the Borg, the Romulans, the Federation, the Klingons. Playing the Borg wasn't really fun, but you just kind of warped in and kicked everybody's ass within like 3 seconds, you know. So.
Yeah.
There's one I played. I don't remember the name of it was, but it was a 2D game, kind of like, you know, the starships were 3D looking, but you only fought in a 2D plane. And, you know, I remember starting to play that, and I chased some guy down who was playing a Klingon, and he got upset. He was like, "Get him off my tail! Get him off my tail! I can't get him!" And he called himself the ultimate Jedi.
Ah.
And then
What?
we kind of all moved to the Klingon fleet, and then all my buddies left and went to a different server to play the game in a different way, and I couldn't follow them because I didn't have the horsepower on my computer, and that was sad to me because they said, yeah, you have to, you know, in the old game we didn't use our shields, we cut the shields off and just use firepower, and then they said, no, you can't, you have to use your shields in this one because, you know, there's guys out there who know what they're doing and all that kind of stuff. I really wanted to play with them, but I never got to. I mean,
Well, that's why I never got into too many of these world-based games because I really just don't like coming in and getting my ass kicked by a bunch of 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's like when World of Warcraft came out or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go into there, but shit, there'd already been, you know, by the time you got into there was already people that had already been playing it for like a year in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would just, you could come in and go, hey, everybody, and you lose your head, you know.
Yeah.
Right. That's still the problem we got today with World of Warcraft is, you know, Jen plays it all the time, but she does different things with it. But with the PvP in World of Warcraft, it's all about your gear and your, you know, being and playing for, you know, 12 years or whatever. So you go into an arena or you go into a battlefield and somebody's just going to annihilate you, you know what I mean? And it's still that way with World of Warcraft. I mean, World of Warcraft right now is so complicated that it's ridiculous.
Well, isn't it almost like dying off now? Or
It probably is because, I mean, people are just getting bored of doing the same shit. They don't know how to sustain the game. So it's like all you do is, okay, you get a new level and then you got to quest and do all this shit. And I hate questing. But by the time you quest and all that kind of shit, or whatever you do, you know, you try to go into a battlefield and somebody's got the best and greatest armor and they've been harvesting that armor for, you know, 6 months, and you go in there and you try to compete and you just get annihilated, you know, and it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
well, we did that. We did that back in the '90s, Mark, when we tried to go into that mech warrior competition.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You,
Yeah.
you and I went in there, and there was like guys in there with like atlases and shit, and it was like, what? We're dead.
Yep. Yep. Same thing.
I did the same thing with X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I went into one of those DBS based or whatever things, and I mean, I went in there with a freaking TIE Fighter, and I had like 20 X-Wings jump my ass, and was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
So I don't like playing against other people. I like standalone solo quest games where I can just do my own thing.
Yeah, like Skyrim. Some of them do it really well. You know, games like Skyrim or whatever, and they
Yeah.
and they do a good job with that. You know, they make it worth your while to play.
Any comments in our chat?
Yeah, Laura.
Try to keep our chat room, you know, engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All my new computer stuff is sitting over there on this new desk, and I haven't touched it in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Boy, I remember. I never really got into the games much. The only game I really loved was Crimson Skies,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it
We've
used
talked
some.
about that before.
Yeah, and it used something on a video processor that, for some reason, they stopped putting on video cards, and so it wouldn't run on a modern video card. I really wish they'd bring that back.
Oh shit! Most of the games I like to play are all XP based. You know,
Yeah.
trying to play them on Windows 8 or higher. You know, was a completely different architecture.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have my desktop over there that's got Windows XP on it, and I have my 3 games that I play. Like, I still play Star Wars Rebellion, and then X-Wing and TIE Fighter. And
Okay.
that's literally what that machine is for over there.
Yeah.
Oh, SimCity.
Ah.
Like the original, like SimCity 3 or whatever. For whatever reason, I thought that was the best of the games. Or SimCity 2000 or something. Or
That's a fun one. There was one I used to play, and I can't remember the name of it. It was a space-based game, and you basically built up your planets and with all your resources and made ships, and you fight other empires. It was a single game, single-player game.
well, that's the way Star Wars Rebellion is.
And
You play the Empire of the Rebellion, and you go around and take over planets and harvest resources to build your ships and your armies and your. But there was a lot of games back in that time too that kind of had that same what do they call it, strategic role playing or something, or
right, and this one was like that, and I downloaded it. I found a version and I downloaded it because I wanted to play it again. I used to love it, but it was all played inside of an emulator.
uh-huh.
And then I went out and I read. Unfortunately, I went to YouTube, and there's people who still played it, of course. And I was reading the notes and all that kind of thing, and they said, well, if you want to really win, you just pick this race and just do this and do that. And I'm like, oh shit. So I went in and I did it, and I just, kicked ass. And I'm like, well, that's, fuck that. I shouldn't. I kind of wish I hadn't read that now, because, now there's, they found I wouldn't call it the glitch, but they found the way to win every game, with that particular race.
Oh, it's like I had fun playing Pac-Man back in the day.
Uh-huh.
Before you discovered all the routes. And then you just sat there and just played Pac-Man nonstop for an hour. It's like, oh God, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you discovered the patterns of any of those stand-up video games, it was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it is.
Like Dragon's Lair, once you.
Yeah, you knew when to jump or when to move and all that kind of thing, because it was so much repetitive. I mean,
Yeah.
the way it worked.
Because I remember Space Duel was one that was a little, and you had a little triangular space, and the typeface on the top of the game it said, to me, I always thought it said Space Oval. It was just, but it was the only one that had gravity. Like the little spaceship would like orbit around a little planet.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that one. I got to find you the game I wrote called Lord of the Rocks. And it's a variation on asteroids, but all the ships look like something from Lord of the Rings. And in each level, I gave the different ships different abilities, the bad guys. And I've still got the executable somewhere, so I could send it to you guys if I can find it.
I don't want to be executed.
And it was fun because even I, the author, I enjoyed it because one race or one set of ships might have a huge plasma torpedo they shot at you, or another one might be able to cloak or something like that. They were all different, but they all kind of looked like Lord of the Rings ships. Like the main battle cruiser looked like Sauron's Eye and all that kind of thing.
Did you see the new trailer for the new Rings of Power?
No.
I haven't seen the trailer yet. No.
Looks pretty nice for season 2.
I enjoyed the last. I did enjoy the show.
So did I.
You know, when people are all shitting on it because it's not canon or whatever, it's like, I don't care. I'm back. It's fun to me to feel back like I'm in Middle Earth or whatever. I don't care what the.
Well, it's like I quit engaging with those people long ago. Because you got the people that are just like the original 3 Star Wars movies. It's like the rest of the universe. I understand the science fiction is just but there was a whole vast universe out and beyond those 3 movies.
Yeah, but those people want you dead. You realize it, and they think it's funny.
Well, Disney bought them, so.
It didn't matter. They're all the same. They all want you dead, and you're patronizing them and giving them money.
No, I mean, we're talking about stuff like the extended universe that's not in the Disney shit.
You're the only person I've ever met that doesn't have blue hair that admits to watching Rings of Power and all that bullshit.
Well, get over it.
No, you get over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Rings of Power. Galadriel is cute as hell. So that's enough for me to watch it.
Probably a dude in drag.
Yeah.
Hell, that little hobbit was pretty cute.
She was too, Nori. Yeah, she's really cute.
You probably like the new Doctor Who and all that stuff.
Oh no, I watched like the first episode on Disney Plus and said nope.
I don't.
Don't watch The Acolyte either, because you will completely just never like Star Wars ever again.
Well, I already.
You didn't like it in the first place, except for the first movie.
Well, you won't even like those anymore.
The only Star Wars series I liked were Andor, The Mandalorian, and I did like the Obi-Wan show, even though people seem to hate it.
Wait a second. Now I've heard that Andor. That's a planet in the Star Trek universe.
No, well, no. I mean,
now, don't tell me no. The blue guys with the fucking little antennas. You can't tell me no.
Andorians, yes.
Yeah, and they come from the planet Andor.
Maybe they do, but this is a different Andor.
You can't have a different Andor. It's like calling yourself. No, there's some other dude named Mark Putt out there who looks nothing like you and doesn't even speak English. Like, come on.
There it is. I've seen him. I've met him.
Yep. Yeah.
So the next thing Star Wars is going to have the phasers and the
they're gonna have a ship show up and it's going to be Captain James Kirk. Oh no, it's not the same James Kirk.
It's not. I've seen that movie.
No, that's okay.
Oh, my first officer, George Washington. No, not that George Washington.
You're the George Washington.
Putt, why don't you just stick with the news?
Yeah.
Want to do the news? Okay, let's do the news.
Would be the news.
Okay, everybody, we're going to do the news now. Today's news is very interesting because I've learned about a few things. First of all, what did I learn? Hang on a second. Oh yeah, Justin Timberlake is getting a divorce.
Wasn't he drunk driving, or is that some other clown?
I don't know. He probably was. Oh no, he was drunk driving.
Don't you have a news background that you use, Putt?
Yeah, it's Klingon news.
Hang on.
Good grief.
And the news cigarette. He has to have the news cigarette.
Uh-huh.
I'm Chevy Chase and you're not.
There you go. And that was 1975. God, almost 50 years ago.
See what you get for getting old?
Yep.
There's the slow plane. Remember that movie, The Slow Plane?
Oh, yeah. The plane.
So you got me for another half hour.
All right.
Okay, let me see if I can find my news background.
And nobody could shoot down that plane because it went so slow that the Japanese Zeros just shot past it.
Yep.
Okay, for today's news on BabbleGab, Justin Timberlake got busted for DUI and he's getting a divorce. What else is there? Russia is threatening us with retaliation for some nonsense that they didn't like.
Yeah, nonsense we're using fucking weapons on a country we're not at war with.
Right. Second of all,
and we're the good guys. Yay!
Yeah, and then there was another really cool thing in the news today where a 101-year-old Russian soldier basically dressed down Putin, and Putin looked like a little kid hanging his head when the 101-year-old man says, "You can't, they're trying to retire him." He goes, "I want to go to the front, and you guys won't let me." And he goes, "And there's no reason I can't defend my motherland. I don't care how old I am." And Putin's just kind of hanging his head, and the rest of the Politburo just basically says,
They don't have a Politburo
"Up yours, motherfucker." I mean, they're clapping for the old man.
Didn't he have like the Star of Lenin too? He was like highly decorated.
Yeah, he had the Star of Lemon.
Yeah, it was the Star of Jack Lemmon.
Star of Jack Lemmon, yeah. He had the Star of Lenin and all that kind of stuff. And it was pretty interesting. Let me see one other thing. Social news. We did Justin Timberlake, but as far as the election goes, Trump's leading in the swing states, so just so you all know. And now I would like to go to my friend Tim, who's on location at the seminary.
Ah.
Yes. And Tim's going to tell us what it's like at the seminary. Timmy, you there?
No.
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 Where are
Where
you?
are you?
You look
Where
like
are
you're like in front of a thing.
Yeah. I'm a car. How's a car going to get in a seminary?
Oh.
I don't know. Where are you at?
I'm on the road.
Ah.
We're on the road where?
I don't know. Just on a road.
You're just on the road. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the shoulder. I don't want to get hit.
Yeah, there
No,
you
you
go.
don't want to get hit. So Timmy is going to tell us what it's like to be on the road and not get hit.
Okay.
It's pretty nice. It's a good feeling not to get hit.
Oh, okay.
See, my bumper's straight.
Yeah.
I've got all the fenders where they should be.
And your
No
teeth?
broken windshield or anything. I'm right side up. So that's a good feeling.
Good. Where'd you get that purple paint?
Gottschalk requested it the first day he was on
Ah.
the show because I was kind of a matte silver at the time, and he said I'd like to see you as a royal purple. So
Ah.
I remember that.
I ended up painting myself a royal purple just for Gottschalk.
There you go.
Oh.
I see you're still wearing your braces.
Ooh.
Am I? Oh my gosh!
Yep.
I thought they took those things off.
This
Maybe
guy's
I'm wrong.
not having a good day.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, it's like if you got the braces keep my grill straight. You dig?
Ah.
Oh, got
I don't want to be like one of those Pintos. Did you ever see a Pinto that had this full grill and that wasn't missing teeth here and there?
Yeah.
No,
It seems like if a chigger hit it the wrong way, it would knock out some of those sections.
that would happen, but the only Pintos I've seen have been on fire.
I actually go watch one get rear-ended once. It didn't catch on fire, but what I love are the old Buicks. So they have the big grill teeth too. And they always look like they should have a cigar hanging out on one side of the grill.
Well, I've got some breaking news
Uh-oh.
What's that?
that the Surgeon General of the United States of America has declared gun violence a public health crisis.
Oh, Lord.
I sure hope we
I
can.
wish I could get paid the money he got paid to come up with that one.
And what's his name?
Let's see.
Yeah, without looking, what's his name?
Willard Scott.
Yeah, that's it.
No, it's
Isaac Murthaugh.
It's Murthaugh.
First,
It's that sheep. It's
we've
that
had some goofball ones that you always remember, like a good old C. Everett Kook.
Yeah.
Because his face was the same upside down as right side up. Because he had his hair went straight up and he had a beard that went straight down. So upside down, it was the same way.
He was
Tony would appreciate this. So Judy's selling 3 cars in a bundle: a '62 Cadillac convertible,
Ooh.
a '48 or '49 fastback Buick, and a '62 Ford Unibody pickup, all for $800.
Wow.
all of them for $800.
Yeah,
How
for
did
the
you
bundle,
can't
for
find
the
leaded
lot.
gas
'Cause
anymore?
you know who offered her the money was the guy that saved their lives, that pulled them out of the house. So it's like, well, I guess she shouldn't Jew him down since he saved your life. I would just, But,
Problem is you can't find leaded gas anymore.
No.
well, they could sell lead substitute.
Yeah, it's just You just use hardened valve seats when you rebuild the engine.
Yeah, you just have to rebuild the engine because my Mustang doesn't take leaded gas.
So so tell us, Timmy, because you have the ability to become different things, which none of us do. Okay? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But we're on breaking news now. Tell us what it's like to be a car versus being a human.
Well, it depends what kind of car. See, I'm kind of I'm a collectible car, so I get a lot of attention, and I can go different places, and people look at me and they look inside me and look under the hood. But if there's like a car that's like a Kia and stuff, nobody cares.
Okay.
And while you get loved, a car that generally you think you're loved, and then one day they just trade you in or just take you to a junkyard and don't care for you anymore, which is sad.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad. Okay, so are you going to be a Kia next time?
No.
Okay. What are you going to be next time?
Will you want me to be a car next time?
Well, if you want to, I don't know what you want to do. I'm sometimes you're a bug. I like the bugs. Sometimes you're a lizard. I like those lizards too.
Yeah, I'm an alligator sometimes, and a horse sometimes, and
Yep.
sometimes a dragonfly, and I could do some like real. I'd have to make new ones. I'd like to kind of make the Batmobile or the Enterprise, but if I made the Enterprise, all you'd talk about is Star Trek the entire time.
Yeah.
No, the Enterprise would be cool, but I'd rather see the Batmobile.
Well, I've already made the Batmobile in 3D, so I could do that. I don't own I don't rent that stupid program yearly because they want hundreds of dollars. So I might just rent it for a month and do what I need to do.
Okay. So
But everything I make something for Transforma when I make something new, like I did a semi-truck transformation, so I could be a semi-truck because I made it.
There you go.
I made a stapler last time, so I could be a stapler. Anything that I make in 3D, I can be.
well, don't be a stapler. Nobody cares about a stapler. I want to see you be a semi-truck. I want to see you be Optimus Prime.
There you go.
I don't like Optimus Prime because his eyes are in the. Never mind. His eyes are in his butt, in his trailer.
Yeah.
Are they?
That's what I didn't like about the Transformers is it's like the front of the car where their eyes should be is like in their chest and all this weird stuff. It's like, you see my eyes and my mouth. You know where they are. It's where they should be. What?
Shifty Shell Shock died today.
Yeah. Who?
Shifty Shell Shock.
I don't know who that is.
Neither does anybody else.
That's the lead singer for the band Crazy Town.
Never heard of that.
Never heard of him.
Why'd you interrupt us to say that? Because nobody's even heard of that stupid band. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah, Gottschalk is your go-to
Did you
source
like
for
an
dead
alert in the middle of
celebrities.
the night, like an Amber Alert telling you that?
Yeah, Gottschalk's your source for dead celebrities you never fucking heard of.
Yeah. Shell Shock.
That's what we love about them.
Yep. So Crazy Town. Who's heard of Crazy Town?
I've never even heard of that.
Well, there was a band that Ted Nugent headed up for a while called Crazy Horse.
I thought that was Neil Young.
Neil Young and Crazy Horse.
No, that
yeah.
was Neil Young. Yeah, sorry.
How dare you get them two confused?
Wow.
Like one is the weirdest lefty clown in the world, and the other is a righty clown.
Well, anyway, we need a Jesse Ventura car or something like that.
Why?
A what?
Jesse Ventura.
You want me to be like a Hot Wheels with something written on the side, like the Fonzie mobile that was the Monkey Mobile, only it said Fonzie on the side?
And they cut part of the roof back. That was the difference.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I do have a 3D Monkey Mobile that I made, but the problem with a Pontiac is it's got a split grill. So does a Batmobile,
Yeah.
and I can't have a regular mouth like I do with a split bumper. So I have to figure out how to do it.
Or you could
Well,
just
you
talk
could,
like this
you
all the
could do a
time.
Jesse Ventura car, no matter what, and you could paint on the side. Shut up, McMahon. You're a pencil neck geek. That would be all you needed. Yep.
You know what I'd like to be? a funny car, and it's like every time I talk, the body kind of pops up and down just a little bit from the chassis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be kind of cool?
Mm-hmm.
Would be kind of cool.
Remember the Matchbox that was in the early '70s, the Super Snake, or that had was pink and it had the snake on the side, and it was a '68 Charger.
Yeah.
No.
Boy, that was neat.
Well, that was Hot Wheels. They had the mongoose and the snake, and they had the little funny cars, and the bodies would pop up.
Right, but I thought that it was a Matchbox that had the pink one with the snake on the side, and yeah, the bodies pop up, and they've got a little plastic thing that you pull down, and it keeps the body up if you want to keep it up like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Maybe it'll be a funny car one day.
Now, why couldn't you drive to a seminary?
Drive through one? How would I get through the front door?
No, you don't have to go into the seminary. They have parking lots.
Oh, why didn't you say so?
Well, they do.
Well, I didn't know. I thought you wanted me to like go down the aisle.
No, I wanted you to just sit there and observe, you know, the students going in and out and talking about them. But I guess we're out of luck today.
Well, I'm sorry, but you need to brief me better instead of debriefing me.
No,
when you're a cop and when they debrief you, does that mean they take your underwear off?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, they do. Depends on what you did.
We take off. We take off your underwear. We put it around your ankles, and then we shackle your ankles.
And then they spank you.
No, that's how a debriefing works. Then we come in with nightsticks, and we say, you're going to talk, or you're going to have a bad time.
Wasn't there a Lionel Richie song called Nightstick?
Yeah.
On the nightstick.
I know which one you're talking about, but I'm not sure they said nightstick.
Yeah.
It's Night Moves. That applies just as well.
No, it was Night Shift. It was about Marvin Gaye getting floofied.
Yeah.
By his kid.
No, his father.
His dad.
His dad. I'm sorry.
As you.
Either way, it was a warm family moment, I guess.
I guess it was. Yeah, I don't know. That's. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we got. Next time, Timmy, when I'm gonna put you on assignment, and you're gonna show up.
All right. Well, now that I know that there's parking lots at seminaries, then I'll know from now on. Maybe we can try it again.
Yeah, maybe we can. And I might not send you to a seminary. I have all kinds of ideas where you need to go, because we're doing some undercover work here.
I'm just glad you cut to me and didn't leave me hanging this time.
Well, I'm the king of hang down. So anyway, is there any other news you guys want to bring up?
There's going to be a debate in a couple days.
There is.
Now I'm trying to find some good places to eat in Peculiar, Missouri here.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a few good places. I went to a China Walk was pretty good.
I see China Walk.
I just finished their leftovers.
Ah.
Was that one place you went to? Was that the Games Workshop?
Might have been. It's right next to. It's about just about a 1 minute walk from China Walk. It's like in the next little.
Next door to Pizza Hut.
Yep, right in the same plaza as Pizza Hut. It's just like 3 doors down.
There's one problem.
You got Frankie's Cafe.
Oh, you know what? I went to Frankie's Cafe and a couple days ago and got their biscuits and gravy and bacon. It is the best biscuits and gravy and bacon I've ever had eating out.
Have you been to Peculiar Collector's Paradise there?
That doesn't ring a bell. It's probably an antique store that's next to that in there. My cousin Sean, who's a cop as well, we went to China Walk, and what happened was, what happened?
Oh.
Everybody was gone, and they went out to get Chinese, and we were just at home, and no one said anything, and we were like, that's what happened. I got there late, and he just got there late, and everybody had gone for dinner, and we're like, well, why did they wait for us? They went to Chinese, and it sounded kind of good. And then he got off the phone with them. He's like, Panda, what was it? Panda, what's that? chain, Panda.
Oh, Panda
Panda
Express.
Panda Express. He says, Panda Express, gross. You're going there? So he goes, Timmy, let's go to a real Chinese place. So we went there, and while they were making our food, that's when we went to the D&D store and all that. And then we went window shopping, and everything was closed. And yeah, they had these weird specialty stores, all these just weird stores in that plaza. And I think that was probably it. They had like antiques, but it was just weird stuff. And it was really interesting.
How's Merle's American Tavern?
I don't know, but I got to tell you, I went to IHOP when I was on my way up here with my other cousin, and I had biscuits and gravy there, and it was horrible, just terrible. It's really bad when you pay top dollar for something and you could just buy Pillsbury and it'd be 10 times as good.
Oh, of course.
I love the biscuits and gravy at Bob Evans. That's my,
Oh, I've never been there, but I got it today. Frankie's Diner is really good. They had really good biscuits and gravy.
You know
Very
what
tender.
I want some country ham with red eye gravy and maybe a few grits. But
Well,
that's
if you go to Cracker Barrel, you get their country ham and biscuits, which is a meal, and you get a side of gravy, and then you can have your biscuits and gravy with some good chunks.
no. It's gotta be red eye gravy.
What is red eye gravy?
Red eye
Put
gravy.
ketchup in it or something? Dobs of ketchup. My dad used to do that. It was gross. Even though I did it when I was a little kid, and I did it until I was about 10, and Darren said it looked like a dead tauntaun, and I never did it again. And Darren did me a favor because that was pretty disgusting. I'm glad I shook that habit. I just thought it was supposed to because my dad did.
No, red eye gravy is made with like bacon grease or ham grease, and it's with coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah, you mix it with coffee, and
Oh, is that with the red eye? It keeps you awake, that kind of thing?
yeah, and you put a little spices in it.
Well, is it a white gravy? Is it like a milk gravy?
It's like a brown gravy.
I don't like brown gravy. I don't like the runny steak gravy that they put on potatoes and I don't like that stuff. I like a good thick white
yeah, that's Bob Evans. Bob Evans got a good thick, sausage gravy.
Ooh, that's what I like.
And they make
That's good.
their biscuits homemade every day. So
Nice.
And Darren, I don't know if you met Darren, my brother. He makes a really good biscuits and gravy, nice and.
don't ring a bell.
Now, my cousin Jason, who ended up being a cop, unfortunately, but before that, when he was in school, we were like 17, and the parents left us by ourselves, and neither one of us had made biscuits and gravy before. So we were cooking the biscuits, and we put some flour in. I think we cooked the bacon and made some grease. So we put some flour in, and then we put milk in, and then we put more flour in and stirring, and then put more milk and more flour, until basically it was a consistency of ice cream cones.
Nice.
Ice cream. It was just like these lumps, and it was so good.
But you know what biscuits and gravy is, don't you, Timmy?
Wet flour on dry flour.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Is that what you're gonna say? Yeah. I don't care. It's not like I'm eating roadkill. It's good.
Well, it's just
Well, you don't know that
it's
either.
just like I always say, biscuits are something you have like next to your food, and gravy is something you put on top of your food. So if you're having biscuits and gravy, it's like you're missing.
No, that's because you get meat. You get either sausage.
Okay, so
or
you're
you
not
got-
just having biscuits with gravy. You're actually having like an actual main course.
Well, biscuits and gravy is just what it's called, but it can be sausage. It could be what is it? The meat. What is it? Oh, for God's sake, what is it? The beef, the dried beef. What is
Yeah.
it, like the Armour?
Yeah,
Cheap beef.
Cheap beef. Yeah.
Or you could put it with hamburger. You can do it with sausage. Bacon's one of my favorites. If you put bacon in it, and like I said, Cracker Barrel, you put ham, big chunks of ham in it. So you got
Because otherwise, because when you just say that, and not knowing the context, it's like, oh, I'm going to go down and get myself some coleslaw and parsley.
Well, you could say I'm going to get a hamburger, but there's more to it than a hamburger. It's got buns and whatever else you put on it. It's still a hamburger. But yeah, or some people call it sausage gravy, but then they don't mention the biscuits. It's just too much to say.
Oh, Timmy, you'll have to come down to Ocala, and I'll take you to Bob Evans for some biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Did you see? I think I mentioned before there was on YouTube there were these English kids, these school kids, and they'd never heard of biscuits and gravy before, and some guy made it for them, and they were all looking at it. And there's this, I don't know what to make of this. It looks gross. What is this stuff? And then they took a taste, and it was like, this is like heaven in my mouth.
Well,
and
first of all, they
they
call
loved
it
it.
scones in England.
Well, the stuff they had in England was nothing like this. It was nothing like sausage, gravy, and biscuits. The stuff
Well,
the people in England,
Well,
I
they
think
eat
they'll even tell you that
spotted
their
dick
food's
over there. I mean, it's like, come on.
They don't know how to cook in England.
Yeah, I think everybody has said that English food is this kind of
Well,
gross.
first of all, the English really don't have breakfast per se.
No.
What
They're
about crumpets and crumpets is an English muffin. We call them there.
Well, the only way you're going to get a good breakfast in England is to go to a pub and order a full English breakfast, which comes with mushrooms,
Dog food.
blood pudding.
Oh, I'd rather have the dog food.
Let me finish. Eggs, bacon, everything you can imagine. They just pile onto a plate.
Yeah.
Well, the bacon sounded good. Nothing else did. I don't know what scones are.
Those are biscuits.
Did they give you kidney scones?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a full English breakfast is something to be contended with. That's the only good thing they make over there.
You telling me you're going to eat blood pudding?
Yes, of course I would.
That's disgusting, Putt.
Dude, I've eaten raw fish. I like stuff.
So you just eat out of the trash and stuff, don't you?
We are clean.
Okay. What are you saying?
I just asked if you ate out of the trash.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Jim was talking to me. Apologize.
I asked if you eat out of the trash.
Often I do.
Yeah, there you go. Says the guy with more dietary restrictions than an Orthodox rabbi.
I call it trash pudding.
Yeah, there you go.
What are the live worms that Klingons eat? You know when they
Gok,
Gok. Okay.
which is when I was a baby, I used to call. That's what I called poo poo. Caca.
Oh, it's funny. This little girl here, her name's October. She was leaving today.
Is she red?
I don't. Yeah. Well,
Oh.
she saw some of the Transformers stuff. She loves it. But she was coming. She's up 4 years old. She's leaving, and she has this little fairy magic wand, and she zapped me and says, "You're a frog." And then her mom took the wand from her and zapped her and says, "You're a turd." And they left.
That's funny. Well, I've eaten raw salmon. I've eaten raw trout. I've eaten
raw cinnamon too. It's not that bad.
No, and I've eaten raw squid. I've eaten salmon roe, the eggs.
Row.
You know what, Putt? This may be the only life form we ever are where we can cook and prepare our own food. And you're wanting to eat like a damn grasshopper.
That's okay. I'm a feral man.
Mm-hmm.
You put me in the Arctic, I'll kill a wolf and I'll eat his liver.
And then you'll
And
OD
then
on
I'll die.
vitamin A. No, it's bear liver. If you eat a bear liver that's got too much vitamin A, it can actually overdose you on vitamin A.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to do overdose.
That's what happened to this
on
guy. That's why I had that green thing on his sleeve. Now he has to wear that hat
It's
all
like
the time.
gaffer's tape. He's wearing gaffer's tape on his arm.
Yep.
Man, they shouldn't have scrapped that plane. They should have just at least used the forward fuselage to make a hotel.
Yeah, something. Or a museum out of it. Make a museum. Wouldn't it be weird if there was like a Barbie museum or something and it was in one of those? It's like the Barbie museum's in a giant bomber.
Yeah.
The one strange food I had one time was Cobra whiskey.
Was that liquor or real whiskey?
When I was in Thailand for my TDY.
God, they'll eat anything there.
But they actually had a whiskey that they actually put like drops of cobra venom in.
Oh, good, that'll work. A
It
little
sounds like a
cyanide,
gimmick.
some strychnine, some fucking decon in there.
What has it? Is it true that peach cores have cyanide in them?
Oh yeah,
Or arsenic?
Peach
Is it
piss.
arsenic?
I think it's cyanide. I think it's actually cyanide. Yeah.
Cyanide.
Yeah.
So will you really die Floofy, if you eat like the pit from a peach?
Well,
Same
you'll
as
you'll
apple
break all your
cores.
teeth off just trying to bite into
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was wondering how you'd even do it. But
Well,
'cause I would
sometimes the
think a
pit will
big animal
split.
like a horse would probably eat the pit to it.
Yeah.
Not even think about it.
Well, because the idea is that the tree makes the fruit, the animal takes the fruit, eats the sweetie part, and then shits out the pit, and then that becomes the seed. And then that's how the plants reproduce. It's like the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees.
And the thing between your knees.
And the
like
something up
coffee.
above. And a thing called something or other.
What isn't that called, like poop coffee or whatever it is?
Poop, that was where they use weasels. They feed coffee beans to weasels, and then the coffee beans go through the weasels directly, and it gets shit out the other end. And you pick the coffee beans out of the weasel shit, and then roast them, and then it makes the coffee's supposed to be really good. Except I will never try it. It's also like $150 a gram or some crap, like worse than
It seems
cocaine.
like weasel poop would be like very smelly, you know.
You
It's
would
like,
think so.
Monkey poop.
Well,
Some poop is worse than others. Like cat poop is like the worst.
It's the worst. Or that's why people have llamas. Because apparently llamas, I think their shit doesn't stink at all. And so people buy that for fertilizer so they can fertilize their plants in the house.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
it
like
doesn't
horse
smell.
poop, I don't mind the smell of horse poop. It's kind of okay. It's not like I wouldn't have like a Febreze horse poop flavors sprayed through my house.
it's kind
but
of
it doesn't make me.
it's kind of a nostalgic smell if it's for those
It
of
kind
us
of
who,
is. It is kind of a nostalgic. It reminds me of when my grandma lived on that ranch in Monument. It takes me
So
back to when I was 3 years old.
You don't really want like a jelly belly of like horse poop.
Oh, that's like the Harry Potter jelly beans.
Oh, get the other
well,
one.
I would eat. I'll stick with Maxwell House as far as the weasel shit
Older.
coffee goes.
I've actually discovered the Walmart Donut House coffee.
That's actually pretty good.
It is. It's probably about the best supermarket coffee I've ever
I
had.
get it in the K cups.
The what?
The K cups, for
which
your
is bigger
beer.
than a D cup.
Oh, I just get the big canisters.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
I never just want one cup of coffee.
No, I want like a gallon.
I want a pot. Fuck that shit. And all these people, oh, I can't drink coffee after like 8 a.m. or I'll never be able to sleep 18 hours later. I sleep better when I have coffee in the evening.
Well, my problem with coffee is it dehydrates me, and of course, if like on a Friday, when I have my booze night, and I've had coffee the same day. See, the last time I did that was a few weeks ago, and I am getting an ulcer in my throat, like in the back of my tongue, and it was so bad that because when I get dehydrated, I'll get like the canker sores. So I got one. Normally they go away. This one didn't go away. It lasted like 2 weeks and just wouldn't get any better. I finally had to do a video chat with my doctor, and she subscribed some antivirus stuff, and I think it was like a codeine thing I was supposed to swish in the back of my throat, and I would just swallow it because it was codeine, and it was like $200 later. It got rid of it. You know, I got better, but now I'm kind of careful, and I've got like 4 or 5 canisters of coffee that I've stashed that I'm gonna get through now, and it's like I don't know if I want coffee that much anymore after what it did to me.
Oh, my old boxing coach used to say he said he was so immune to coffee. He goes, if I can't sleep, I get up and I brew a pot of coffee and I'll sit there and drink the coffee till I'm ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
And he literally sounded like Mickey from Rocky. And
Yeah.
He used to tell me, here is his.
I like coffee.
Here is his typical boxing instruction. And he goes, all right, you got to hit him in the goddamn thing and hit him in the other goddamn thing. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking
Hey, Ricky, let me get some coffee out of my
I can't
ass.
drink coffee right now.
Hey, enjoy a good cup of coffee. Like kidding. It's been a while since I've done Bullwinkle.
Hey, Ricky.
I mean, I like a good coffee, but I can't drink it right now because it's already like 90 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning here in Florida.
Well, you can get iced or that cold brew shit that everybody's nuts
that's not
about.
coffee anymore.
Or
If you win the election, will you promise me that you won't have coffee every? I got to work on that voice too. I'll get it
okay.
one day. I'll get these. We got to do new voices for these shows.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do. And this is a practice session for that.
Yeah.
One of my next things we're going to do here. We're going to do a round robin.
Oh God.
Okay, and what we're going to do is bad impressions.
Oh, okay. You know what? Let's try to get Bert. Because Bert Ward is like the only guy left from that show. Get Bert Ward on here. Tell him we're going to talk about big dogs. He loves big dogs, and then we can have a round robin with Robin.
Yeah,
That would be pretty cool. Who's going to ask him?
Not me.
Now I've asked a few celebrities so far, and even though I didn't make any luck with it, it's you guys got to ask some people too because they just don't. Nobody likes me. So give us a round robin before I go because I only got a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, round robin. We'll start with you, Timmy. Do a bad impression, and we got to guess who it is.
A bad impression of who?
Anybody.
Okay.
He just said you'll have to get. We'll have to guess.
I know. Give me a second, okay? Goodness, this is on the spot. This isn't around. This isn't on the spot.
See, now this plane could actually cross the country in 74 days.
What was that? A car?
How about? Zoom, zoom.
That was Jack Benny's Maxwell, as voiced by Mel Blanc.
Pretty close. You got the actor. It was Speed Buggy.
Ah,
Okay.
just
Tony,
a
it's your
different
turn.
era. You know that I read one of those Facebook things. You know, now there's 84,753 Facebook groups for the same subject, each subject, and so one of them, and they keep popping up. And one of them said Mel Blanc. They had a sound effects record for Jack Benny's car, and then one day they were doing live radio, and they didn't have the record ready, and so Mel Blanc just did it by himself. But it was by accident.
A voiceover genius for coming up with cartoon voices. Yeah. He was trying to solicit Warner Brothers or whatever. When he was young, he was like, "Please let me be a voice actor," and they wouldn't do it. And finally, he just got a lucky break.
Then they wouldn't want to credit him, because that would cost them money.
Didn't want to credit him, huh? Hollywood's just buttholes. They've always been buttholes.
Terrible.
What do you got, Putt? Because this other guy's not here.
Well, I know I was calling on Tony, but he's.
Oh, okay.
Tony,
sorry, I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay. We got a really big show.
Ed Sullivan.
Hey.
Ed Sullivan. Good bad impression there.
Well, I don't know. I only know.
It wasn't a bad impression. We knew who he was.
No, it's okay. You don't have to be. I mean, even if they're good impressions, I'm pushing us to make new voices.
New voices.
Because the problem I have,
impression of somebody on the spot and not somebody that you're used to doing. I mean, I could have done one I'm used to doing.
Because I've done Nixon. I did Nixon on
Saturdalia.
Saturdalia, yeah, and that came out. I was singing. I kind of got my voice down here, and I was singing, "She's let me so lonely I could die," and it was like it almost like sounded like Nixon doing "Heartbreak Hotel." So that's where that came from. And I could always do like one thing, like Bullwinkle. I don't know if I could do a whole thing with Bullwinkle, but I can go, "Hey Rocky." But then again, when I did Bert and Ernie, that just started with just, "Hey Bert," and then you do that. And then I did the whole rest of it. Just like, shit. Up to that point, I'd only ever done, "Hey Bert."
Yeah, you did great with that, in the bathtub, and also when Steve Jarrett was going across the high wire and knocked Ernie off.
Yeah, that's where that came from.
Yeah, and that October she watched, like I said, she watched all the Transforma cartoons, and she also watched the rush of the new film, at least the last half of it. And I asked her later, so I said, "Which one was your favorite of all of them?" And she said the one where Terry's on the kite and falls into the truck. And I'm like, I was flattered because, that's good, because even though we all liked the Transformers stuff, it was the movie that I'm working so hard on that she was her favorite. So that was good. Maybe people will like the new film. It's your turn, Gotcha, and I got to leave in a minute.
All I know is I need to come back up there, Timmy, because I found these while I was digging in my boxes this week.
Shark's Teeth, did you find those in Fernandina?
Yes.
That's where they are, or at least where they used to be.
That's where Darren took us that time.
I don't think I've ever found one. My mom found enough for all of us. She had a big mason jar full of them. So give us a bad impression, Chuck.
Wow.
This isn't on the spot.
Bad impression of whatever.
Yeah, Bud said he's doing this so we can practice impressions that we normally don't do.
Yes.
Just to kind of get us out of our mold.
I only know a few impressions.
Well, you don't have to know it. Just pick somebody. Give us one, Putt, while Gottschalk thinks
come
about
back around to me.
Okay, hang on. Let me see here.
Now, you've had a long time to think of one, but
I know I have. Okay, here's mine. Who loves you, baby?
Kojak.
Yeah.
I thought it was Blofeld.
Blofeld, yeah.
Blofeld.
He made, it's silly thinking that Telly Savalas was Blofeld, but he made the best Blofeld. I think he was the most menacing.
I think he was, yeah.
What do you got, Gutshot?
I still got nothing. Wow, it's kind of sad when you with a vast array of impressions you can do, and I can't come up with one.
That's why it's called on the spot. But in a minute, I'm gonna have to go out because I want to sit out with them in front of her old house before the sun goes down because she doesn't want to walk back in the dark.
Watch some fireflies, huh?
Yep, there are fireflies. And the kid, October, has a little clear plastic pink thing it's a little teardrop trailer that's exactly made for catching bugs. It's got little seesaws and everything for the bugs to play on inside of it. It's interesting.
Oh, Captain, choppers.
Oh, I don't know if it's Wendy A, Wendy B, or a different Wendy. We got a Wendy Lou.
Hi, Wendy Lou.
Wendy Lou, hi. How you
Because we're
doing?
on
Welcome to
YouTube.
BabbleGab chat.
We're getting a different.
Audience here.
Yeah, well,
That was
was
pretty good. Who was that, Gotcha? That was a Star Trek person? Yes, heard Captain.
Oh, Captain's choppers
Oh,
Radar?
coming.
You know what would
There you go.
would be
yeah.
funny? You know what? Very good, very very good, Dave. You know what would be funny is if Captain Kirk said to Scotty, beam me up, Scotty, and he beat the shit out of Captain Kirk because he thought he said beat me up, Scotty. That would be
okay.
funny. Maybe if we ever did a sequel to Star Trek, we'll do that.
There you go.
The part one just always makes me
Oh, it's
laugh.
Wendy Renshaw. Wendy Lou is Wendy Renshaw.
Hi, Wendy Renshaw.
Hi.
Thanks for your help, Wendy. We appreciate that.
The
Well,
part
I love you
one is
guys,
Star Trek.
and I will see you next time. Okay.
All right.
Sounds good, Timmy.
Take care, fellers, and be safe.
Yeah, you too.
We
God
love
bless
you
you all.
guys, and
We'll see you back in Jacksonville next week.
Yep.
Well, 45 minutes north of Jacksonville, but
Timmy's leaving, but y'all stay tuned here because we're doing a good show.
Really?
and for all who want to know who tuned in late, if you tune into the beginning of the show, I gave a rundown of everything that happened with the fire and stuff. Some of it's kind of humorous, all things considered. So take care, fellers.
Yep.
Bye.
Take care, Timmy.
Well, that'll pretty much bring it into this show.
Yeah, you can talk about Star Trek now.
No, we can talk about Star Trek and Lord of the
Come on in,
Rings.
Steve Jarrett. We can talk about an hour of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Steve, I wish you'd come back.
yeah. Steve, come on back. You guys
We don't
got
care-
any Star Trek questions you want answered?
He put
That
on a
includes
pretty
the
ominous
Wendy's.
post on Facebook the other day. So
An ominous post?
yeah,
Ah.
about trusting people and getting betrayed. All sorts. I don't remember what it said.
Well, yeah, vague posting, it's a great tradition on Facebook. And the thing is, you should never, when anybody vague posts like that, you never ask them why they posted it. You just let it be a mystery.
Yep. Well, that's what I said. It was ominous.
Because then after a while, it's like they're just sitting there going, oh, I didn't ask me why I'm vague posting. And they'll just come out and say it anyway. Maybe.
Maybe. I just post stupid memes.
There you go.
I actually found one of TV on the other day.
Oh, my
I
God.
mean, shit made me laugh.
Uh-oh.
I can't find it again.
I know, because you guys are trying to summon Sauron there on the show.
Well, we have, the stone is called a cat's eye chrysoberyl, and it is the eye of Sauron. It really,
This is what they based it on?
pretty close. I mean, it really looks like it. We get the light hits it right.
The red one?
No, it's a kind of a greenish, creamy color with
Yeah, that's cool looking.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the star one, too. The star is kind of...
Oh, yeah.
The star one was Narnia, the Ring of Fire.
There you go.
That's what they gave Gandalf when he arrived in Middle Earth. Círdan gave it to him.
Whee.
So whatever you guys want to talk about, but let me see. Let me look at my notes and see if I have anything funny.
Yeah, Wendy, that's true. This is exactly. Either they're waiting for you to ask, or if you do ask, oh, I don't want to talk about it. Then why are you talking about it if you don't want to talk about it?
Yep. It's like the when they used to have the little memes, like girl 911, and she goes, "Hello 911, I can't even." She goes, and the answer is, "Have you tried posting on Facebook that you're having a problem?" And she goes, and then when people ask you what's wrong, you said, "I don't want to talk about it."
Yeah.
Or the other one is, the dog calls dog 911, and he goes, "I'm not feeling well," and then the other dog says, "Have you tried throwing up and eating it?"
Keep talking. I'm trying to find this meme.
Ah.
Okay.
And folks, Wendy and everybody, just make sure you subscribe to our page and BabbleGab.
Yeah. So you subscribe to our page and engage in that way.
Because what I'm hoping is, because I know I've some podcasters now, they're not mainstream, but some of them will make a couple $100 a show.
Yeah.
Boy,
so
I could use that.
Well, baby, I mean, not
Huh?
babies. I said, well, babies. I didn't mean that, but I was going to fill the Wendy's in Laura, and I had a bad fall today in the shower. I slipped and landed straight on my ass, and they had to call the fire department to help me get out of the tub because my left leg doesn't work so well. It's a stroke. And they did get me out. They got me on my feet, and that was all I needed so I could get dressed. But I can walk. I just need help. I just need help standing up. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't any fun, and I'm sore. It's been out of 5 days, I've fallen 3 times. And they're starting to know me by name, which is a little bit scary.
So Steve just texted us on the film project thing and said not on Facebook anymore. No, they kicked us off, Steve.
No, they didn't kick us. It's just it's how do I want to say it? It's just that it's a pain in the ass, and it's like it to me. Like I said before, like even on TV On where I work, we'll be on Facebook Live, we'll be on YouTube. Facebook Live, maybe 15, 16 viewers. YouTube, 100, 120, 140. Uh-huh. So.
Is that the other girl?
Yeah, it's good old Tara. That's about a couple of years that she's moved on. Yeah, so I decided instead just to make a Facebook event and have it linked to YouTube.
Come on, Steve. You can talk about Star Trek for an hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you missed it, Mark, this was quite the outfit that Lauren wore right here.
Okay. I'm watching. Oh, she looked nice.
Always does.
Always does.
Oh, well, Tony, if you're not going to hit on her, I mean... I'm not going to either.
Okay. Because you're married and so's Gotcha.
This one right here, she was kind of downplaying herself a little bit. Oh, well. Come on, Steve. Who haven't we seen for a while? I figured Wendy Wass would be on more.
Well, it's school days now. Doesn't she teach?
Yeah, but she was on summer break. I remember posting about it.
Yeah.
What's Steve got to say? Oh, that's
He'll be back eventually. This is Star Trek hour right now.
Yeah, there you go.
And we haven't said a word about Star Trek other than we're going to talk about Star Trek.
That's right. Any questions you got about Star Trek, just let us know. And and if you're not a Star Trek fan, ask us about anything
AMA.
except Twilight and what's that other stupid show? Supernatural.
I don't know much about the Hunger Games or Divergence either, so
I don't know anything about the Hunger Games other than Jennifer, what her name is, a total bitch in real life.
Jennifer Lawrence, is that her name?
Yeah,
No
Jennifer
idea.
Lawrence. Yep, she's nasty.
Yeah, anything pop culture within the last 10 years or so. I think the last weekly TV show I was watching was NCIS, and that was a good. I missed this entire whole season,
Well,
and
There'll be
I
a
just don't
million-
care anymore. No,
Yeah.
the last thing, it was, in yet another episode, and it was about, these terrorist threats and all this. Oh, it's white supremacists. Yeah, that's our problem, is white supremacists. Fuck you. And then just get out of here already.
Well, like any of those shows, what I got tired of with NCIS, and they got tired of it a long time ago, NCIS investigates more than just murders.
Well, that's television. That's been a television thing since the 50s. That crime shows are only ever about murder.
Yeah.
Like if you watch an episode of Perry Mason, I mean, he'll be talking about, some land deal or something like that going wrong and all, and he just said, okay, who's going to get killed?
Yeah.
Because you can't have like a shady land deal without somebody getting killed, or anything, or a play. You can't have like a traveling roadshow play without somebody getting killed.
Well, like I said, that little town in Mississippi called Sparta, Mississippi, was like the most violent little town in America.
Well, that and Cabot Cove.
Because somebody got killed every week in that little town.
Oh yeah. And they found out later it was Angela Lansbury killing all those people.
Yeah. When Murder, She Wrote. Yeah. What was the one with Dick Van Dyke where he was the doctor investigating all the...
Yeah, somebody in
Murder.
oh yeah, he was a lawyer or something.
Oh, he was a doctor.
He was a doctor.
Yeah, because Dick Van Dyke had a show and Andy Griffith had a show. And they both played almost the same character, except Andy Griffith was a lawyer and Dick Van Dyke was a doctor.
Yes.
And they both solved crimes.
I don't remember the Dick Van Dyke show.
I do. It was only on for a couple seasons, if even one. Then, we had the cool 80s ones, like Marcus Welby.
Oh, good old Weldy.
Well, the best one was Quincy, MD.
Oh man! And every show was about some hot topic in like pop culture or something like that. It
Yeah.
was like, I saw one. It was all about the scourge of illiteracy. Oh my God! There are grown people who don't know how to read.
I'll tell you, the show I couldn't get into was Rockford Files. I just never...
Yeah.
Well, it was a very 70s show. You had to kind of be there.
Yeah. Stephen Jarrett said Dragonis murder.
Diagnosis Murder. Yeah, Dragon's Murder. Yeah, it was called Dragon's Murder, Dingbat. No, Diagnosis Murder.
Hey, I can't help it. I've been reading other things with
Ah.
my eyes. I'm dyslexic.
Now, if a dragon murders people, does it actually murder or just a dragon being a dragon?
Well,
Just dragons being dragons.
yeah, but then that excuses like 80% of the human-caused murders too, because they just kill people because that's what they do.
Well, dragons are not humans.
Yeah.
They have some compulsion to.
Well, most people who commit murders aren't human either, but
Well,
you get in trouble for saying that.
Tolkien's dragons didn't kill like innocent girls like a lot of dragons did.
Oh yeah, the virgin sacrifices.
Oh
The
yeah.
virgin sacrifices. Smog didn't give a shit about that, and Calagon the Black didn't give a shit about that. Galrong didn't give a shit about that. They were just warlords. They were just tools of the dark, that were vicious and destructive and greedy. Smog was greedy. He wanted all the treasure to himself. Galrong was the king of the dragons, and he didn't have any wings.
Ah.
He just had 4 legs, and he was just horrible, and he fought.
I thought Gowron was the new chancellor of the Klingon Empire.
That's Gowron, not Galrung. Glory to you and your house.
I thought the king of the good dragons was Paladine.
Yeah, there you go. Teledyne, yeah.
Paladine, there were no.
Paladine.
Paladine, have come, will travels, reads the card of
It's
a
like
man.
Tiamat is the queen of all evil dragons.
Ah.
Who was?
Tiamat.
Well, Tiamat was not the queen of all dragons.
No, queen of all evil dragons.
Ah, okay.
Well, no, she wasn't even that. She was just a dragon with 7 heads.
There you go.
5 heads.
And Steve wants to have what's the right one called? Merlin PI.
Merlin being.
So he's either the wizard from King Arthur or a Rolls Royce airplane engine.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Merlin would just read their minds and say, "He did it."
I actually thought about this past weekend. I'm going to find Excalibur, the original one from like 1980.
It's good.
And I love that movie.
It's a great movie, and also on Prime there's Hawk the Slayer.
Yeah, I saw that.
Ah.
Yeah, and Excalibur's there too.
Yeah, good old Emergency. That was. I actually watched that when I'm at work on Friday because we do an internet only show. So at the one monitor, I just have Perry Mason and Emergency up on that.
Well, yeah,
Those
you
are
just
fun
want
to
to
watch.
keep Joyce on the internet. You don't want her on live TV. So.
Be nice. But
Pretty sad when I'm starting to get to know all the employees there. I'm starting to learn the names of people answering the phones too.
yeah.
What did you watch on TV, Tony?
Oh, Emergency. Steve likes Emergency.
Oh, okay.
Mercy was good.
Yeah. Rantooth
I
Mandolf and
I liked Emergency, but I didn't get to watch it that much because I think at the same time SWAT was playing. That series SWAT.
Yeah, the TV series with
Yeah, and I like the Emergency a lot better, but my dad always watched SWAT, so I just had to watch it.
I remember SWAT. Yeah, back when SWAT teams were the thing, and then Columbine happens, and what does a SWAT team do? Hide behind their fucking truck. It kind of killed
The
it.
original TV show SWAT was the unknown guy who always drove the blue van.
Yeah.
No, the problem with Columbine was not that SWAT didn't want to go in. It was that the regular officers showed up and wanted to go in, and the police, the chief called them off. And which caused the deaths, and because regular officers wanted to go in and put an end to it, and so that caused a big controversy because it's like, why were you waiting? Why are you hesitating? He goes, well, I thought it was a hostage situation. And they're like, no, that's bullshit, because people were coming out windows screaming that we needed help. One of the people that was in the room where that teacher got shot was my friend Hannah, who used to be my dancing girl on my explosion shows. And not only her, but I ran into another girl who, same kind of story, but she wasn't in the same room. But those fools, they basically were just unequipped. That the police chief was basically a coward, and he had regular officers dying to go in there and just take these guys out, but he made them wait for the SWAT team and all that. And then by the time they got in there, they had to go clear the rooms, and by that time it was all over. Things.
Yeah.
And
it was all over in like 3 minutes, wasn't it? Anyways,
something like that. But I mean, I was literally within viewing distance of Columbine when this happened, and it was over. It was over, not totally quickly, because they were going through the library shooting people. They shot a few people in the halls, and then they tried to go blow themselves up with propane tanks.
Yeah.
And it didn't really work out. And then I worked with a guy who knew that one of the fathers of one of the shooters. And when the police came to the house to do their due diligence, the mom told them, "Well, this is his room here." And the police were going to go in. She goes, "No, you can't go in there. We're not even allowed in there." And the cop just basically said, "Shut the fuck up. We're going in." And they prepared themselves, and they went in, and he had some weapons and other things in there. But no, it was a fiasco.
Yeah.
Put it bluntly. And Columbine could have been a lot less worse if you had officers interdicting in there, especially if they could have found the library. And
I don't think it would have been less worse, because I think it was over before the first officer showed up.
That's possible. That's very possible. But it was just a bad scene.
Most mass shootings and most shootings like that are usually over before the first officers get on scene. Except Black Canyon, I was involved in that one. So
Yeah.
Were you?
Yep.
Is that the one where the guy shot the girl in the head?
Yep.
Yeah, that one was, yeah.
Up in Bailey.
Yep.
We had the one at the movie theater too over there, didn't you?
The Century 16 Theater.
Yeah.
Been to that movie theater 100 times.
Yep.
So Steve wants to go have Star Trek at the beach and call it Borg Watch.
Borg Watch.
Well, they had like one cute Borg chick, and that was about it. And everybody else just had pipes coming out of their heads. Look at all that. My God, it's a 3350, I think. See, that's the thing. We love the old propeller airliners and all that. There were just so damn many moving parts compared to a jet.
They were slow as hell.
Oh, yeah, but you'd often land with one prop feathered because there's just so much going on. There's so many moving parts.
Yep.
I mean, I was at the Air Museum at the March Air Force Base out in Riverside, California, and they had lots of airplanes on display, and they had hangars with other displays, and they had one of the latest, one of the last, most advanced propeller airliner engines next to a jet engine, and you could look there, and it finally realized, shit, I mean, just the sheer number of moving parts compared from a piston engine to a jet.
Yeah,
Wasn't there
called a radial engine?
Yeah.
Wasn't there one prop engine that I guess it had two props, but the ends of the tips of the blades.
We were talking about that. Yeah, it was a turboprop prototype for a fighter plane, and the blade tips were supersonic. So basically, it had like sonic booms going around and around. The noisiest plane ever built. Actually, people around the airport where they were testing it actually got sick from the noise. It actually nauseated them. Because you can't have the prop tips go supersonic.
I like all the blades they put on C-130s now. Have you seen them?
Are they starting to do the scimitar blades, the curved ones?
Yeah, they're all
that's what they do that to minimize the supersonic effects. It's like having a swept wing. So you're not getting the shock waves as much off the prop tips. The C-130, though, you know that thing went into production in 1956? It is still being made?
Yes. Yes.
And that's
Now,
not
is
the...
it
That's
still
not
being
the...
made, or are they just upgrading the current fleet?
I think so. Well, I mean, I'm sure all the electronics are all completely different from they were back then.
Yep.
But
It's like the new A10s aren't the same as the old A10s, but they're just as durable and
yeah. But
destructive, more destructive.
But the C-130, it's not the longest production airplane ever. That honor goes to the Beechcraft Bonanza, because that went into production in 1947, and it's still being made.
That's the one with the V-tail, right?
Well, originally, yeah, they got rid of the V-tail after a while. Yeah, Steve, you are the $6 man.
$6 man. We can rebuild him. We can make him better than he was.
I just want to get him on the show. I don't care about rebuilding them. Just get him on the show.
Yeah, we have $6. We can repair him.
You notice they never said how much Jamie Summers cost.
No, they didn't. She was probably $7 or $8 million because she didn't even have full bionic limbs. She had implants.
Huh?
I mean, back in the 70s, you know, you go $6 million man, and people are like, ooh, that's a lot. Now you say the $6 million man, you go, shit.
Yeah, that's like one of Iron Man's suits.
Iron Man. They really missed a bet by not having Ozzy on that fucking movie.
What's that?
The Iron Man movie. They should have had Ozzy Osbourne in it.
They did at the end.
Oh, the first movie, yeah.
Did they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I must have fallen asleep by that point.
The credits were all Iron Man.
Well, no, but I actually have them on the show, not just the music.
That would have been great. But no, they had... The songs they had in the first movie were AC/DC's Shoot to Thrill.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the Iron Man movie, the first one, they had, you know, Black Sabbath's Iron Man. When they were showing that, yeah.
See, all they had to go through back then to lose your luggage.
Well, they're not tossing it around like I watched them do on the tarmac these days.
Oh, God.
Have you seen them take them off the plane and throw them on your cart? Jesus Christ.
No, they're crazy. Don't ever take a musical instrument on a plane. Christ, just drive.
No, I haven't done that, but Steve says the bionic non-binary. No, Jamie Summers had implants in her legs and one of her arms, I think.
I thought she had both arms because
Maybe both
Austin
arms.
had one arm.
She had the hearing and he had the vision.
Yeah, he had the eyeball.
Yep.
And then her hearing sounded like she was trying to tune in a radio when she was...
It's funny, they had a book called Cyborg that somebody had written. I can't remember who wrote it, but that's what the Marvel Comics was based on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the pilot TV movie was called Cyborg, the $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
The original like TV movie that they introduced the character.
Right, and in the comics, they kind of, I mean, which was an evolution to the TV show, was a cyborg with the same things, 2 legs, an arm, and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a backpack on his back that would talk to him. A small backpack that would like advise him and talk to him and all that kind of thing. And I remember reading those comics, and then they came out with the show, and that ended the comic book series. But he did not look good in the comic book series. He was a messed up dude, you know. He just...
Here's an impression. The Justice League heads out to save the world while Aquaman stays at the Hall of Justice because he can't do shit.
Exactly. Hey, Batman, should we bring Robin? Why? Because he's got a telephone or they did a thing about that with Robin on the Family Guy where he was, some girls were drowning or something, and Robin's like, they're like, oh my God, we need help. And then Robin shows up. They go, oh, it's Robin. And he goes, well, I got a cell phone.
I'll tell you what, looking at that, Robin, I know Nightwing is what Robin becomes when Batman retires.
Right.
But, or is it Nightwing or Darkwing?
Yeah.
Nightwing.
I almost look at those as two different characters because Nightwing is kind of a little badass.
Yeah, Nightwing's pretty fucking tough. I mean, he knows all of Batman's moves, and he's filled in for Batman several times. But when Batman gets really, really, really old and he retires, he had made a suit for himself, like a bionic suit, and he gave it to Terry McGillis, who became Batman Beyond. And Terry McGillis did a good job with it, and Batman was proud of him for what he accomplished and all that kind of thing, because he wore Batman's old his bionic suit, and the two of them would fight together. I mean, not side by side, but Batman would be in the Batcave as an old fucking man, advising Terry through his radio. And there's a scene near the end of the series where Batman had earlier criticized Terry about, well, you're nothing without the suit, or he goes, or something along those lines. He goes, the only thing that makes you worthwhile is the suit. And that was way earlier in the series. And finally Batman comes to see Terry, and Terry's in the hospital after, I think, beating the shit out of the Joker. And he says, I was wrong. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, it's not you that, he goes, it's not the suit that made you worthwhile. It's that you made the suit worthwhile. And Terry McGillis is he's a pretty cool character. If you ever decide to sit down and watch Batman Beyond, it's pretty cool. And then you come to find out that, I mean, years ago, that Amanda Waller, who was in charge of fighting the superheroes or keeping them in check, she came up and she told Terry, she goes, there's too many times where, Batman's strength of will and, his abilities have saved the earth. And she goes, we can't do without a Batman. She goes, with Superman maybe, but not a Batman. And he goes, what do you mean? She goes, well, you don't have that magnificent brain that he has. She goes, but you got the heart and you got the guts to fill in properly. Yeah, it was really cool.
I've asked this question before. Well, why do they always portray Superman as this big, huge, buff guy? Couldn't he be like a skinny little runt and still kick everybody's ass?
Pretty much. I mean, it's not, because his whole being is this Krypton thing. Well, that was Captain. Wasn't it Captain Nice? That was Mr. Terrific, who was. That was before you guys. Actually, no, it was probably it was on the TV about the time you guys were being born, but because I think Mr. Terrific was the guy. Oh, what the fuck was his name? I'm losing. I'm getting so old, but it was kind of wasn't the guy who was the voice of Underdog?
Yeah, and well, it's interesting you say that, Tony, because they're making a new Superman movie, and he's not that buff. You know, his suit isn't buffed out or anything like that. He kind of looks like a normal guy with a somewhat appointed, like, not really armor, but you know, just a pointed suit with some seams and stuff in it. And in that movie, he and Mr. Terrific are teamed up.
Ah.
And so that's going to be the new Superman.
Oh, okay. But the Mr. Terrific I'm talking about was a TV show back in '67.
Yeah.
But, okay, so it's an actor who didn't. Because okay, Captain Nice was William Daniels. That's right. Who was the voice of Kit.
Yeah.
That also came out in '67. But yeah, non-buff Superman. That was my joke. Is they got a Superman. You know, it's going to be, but he's going to be old Superman, so he can still leap tall buildings in a single bound, but then he has to sit down for a minute.
Yes.
Yep. You know, when Superman was originally created, he couldn't fly.
No, that was he leaped. Yeah. I think it was like in the cartoons, in the Max Fleischer cartoons, they did that just to kind of save time.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But they, I guess now in the DCU or whatever, they're trying. There he is. Yep. You know, he's more of a normal looking guy than he is a super buff, whatever alien. You know, that
An alien.
it's funny when I first joined that weightlifting forum 22 years ago. The first two threads I saw. Number one was Superman would not have jacked fibras, and I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about? And I was like, jacked fibras. Okay. Oh, they mean he's not going to be so buff because he doesn't need to be. And the guy was just kind of going off on it. And the second thread I saw was, is it gay if you suck your own dick?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Whoa.
Anyway, we'll
I'm like, okay.
step over that one. But yeah, and if he was going to be really buff, what kind of weights would he lift? He could lift up the whole planet.
Right.
He would have to
he'd
have to bench press the moon or some shit.
Right. He could lift trillions of pounds and all that kind of crap. You know, it's just like.
Because the problem is, it always sounds like, oh yeah, let's make a character who's like absolutely infallible and infinitely strong. Okay, then what's he do? He beats up a few criminals, then what?
Yeah.
There's not much conflict with the guy's, completely, impervious to everything.
That's right. That's the reason they brought in characters like Darkseid and some of the other ones who were super powerful aliens or something to have Superman fight. In fact, I was watching one today, not a cartoon, but just a snippet. And Superman made the point. He goes, I stand up to guys who are a lot stronger than me all the time. And I'm like, okay, who's that going to be? And I went through my head, and it's like, well, Darkseid, and then there's Mongol, and there's a few others that were stronger than Superman. But then Superman was mad at Darkseid, and he says, okay, I've had enough of you. He goes, I feel like I live in a world of cardboard. I'm afraid of hurting, destroying everything.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid of hurting people. And he goes, but I'm not afraid anymore. And he just starts pounding the shit out of Darkseid, knocks him through like 5 or 6 buildings. And then he's waiting for him on the other side of the buildings. He knocked out and just face plants him in the ground.
Here's one picture for
Season 2.
Yeah, Rings of Power, Season 2.
Oh, okay. They get rid of all the black people? No, that happened. That's at the Lord of the Rings. Okay.
Sauron. Good.
Yeah. Should be cool. It starts August 29th.
Ah.
That's cool. I can't wait to see it.
All right, so you want to say goodbye to the folks because putt's almost horizontal, and
No, I'm just taking a leak.
You're doing what? Did you say
Taking
he
a
was
leak.
taking a leak?
I hope not. I say putt's almost horizontal, and he said, no, I'm actually at 30 degrees above horizontal. Okay, well, fine.
Yeah. We still didn't get to talk about Star Trek.
We got to get Steve on.
Steve can listen.
You know, like that Elton John song. Gotta get Steve on.
So back to my topic of many months ago. So there would have been a captain and 3 commanders.
Ah.
On the Enterprise.
Right.
Actually, there probably would have been a 4th.
Probably.
There probably would have been the executive officer, which would have been number 1, and then the 3 commanders, which would have been one in charge of the blue shirts, one in charge of the red shirts, and one in charge of the gold shirts.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the one that was in charge of the gold shirts was Commander Giotto.
Ah. That
Spock was the XO.
Well, sort of. He kind of filled 2 roles, didn't he? He was like,
He was chief science officer, and
yeah. Because in the
And
pilot, with Jeffrey Hunter and all that, Majel Barrett was number 1. She was basically the XO.
Right. And Spock was just a lackey.
But Spock was a goofy kid who was like panicking all the damn time because he hadn't really finalized his character yet.
I mean, Spock basically was McCoy's boss.
Yeah.
Right. Wait a minute. I got it wrong. Ben Finney was the commander of the gold shirts.
So he was commander. He was the operations commander,
Right, but he had two braids.
which is what Spock has.
Right. And then Commander Giotto had the 2 red braids.
So he was the commander of like services.
Right. And then there was
Then the blue shirts was basically sciences or.
right, Spock was in command of like McCoy and them. But McCoy was also what actually wasn't a Starfleet officer. He was but he was the doctor, you know.
Yeah,
he
the
had-
ship's doctor just basically have like an honorary rank.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was basically appointed by Starfleet Medical.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
McCoy was basically lieutenant commander, the same as Scotty.
Yeah.
So they were in command of like their.
Steve, he wasn't in the
section.
second pilot either. He wasn't in Where No Man Has Gone Before.
no, he wasn't. But McCoy had 2 braids
Yeah.
on his wrists. And so he did have some rank. And Scotty should have been the commander of the red shirts, but they never made him that. He was just lieutenant commander.
He was in charge. He was the charge of engineering,
Yeah.
Right.
whereas the commander of the red shirts was in charge of was the commander of engineering and security and.
Right.
Which is kind of an odd combination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because to be honest with you, security for the most part probably would have fell under gold shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have fell under operations command.
Yeah, it always kind of seems kind of weird that Scotty would have a red shirt and then all the other red shirts would just get killed.
Yeah.
And then Scotty would get in a bar fight with fucking Klingons. They called the Enterprise a garbage scow. It's like, yeah, okay.
I don't mean the Enterprise was a garbage cow. I meant the Enterprise should be hauled away as garbage.
He insulted the Enterprise. So you hit the Klingon, not when he insulted me, but when he insulted the Enterprise. Yes, sir.
All right.
And the sad part about, on the original Star Trek, you never see any enlisted.
Well, they're the ones that wore those weird-looking blue
Jumpsuits?
things.
The
They-
jumpsuits.
Blue jumpsuits. Yeah, they were the enlisted ones. Yeah.
Well, you figure, Desilu, they had basically a soundstage was kind of divided into four, pretty much. You had the bridge, you had the corridor with the curve in it, and then you had like a catch-all that was everything, like the sick bay and the mess hall and every other fucking thing. So
Yeah.
they didn't really have a lot of room for any of that shit.
Had a bowling alley,
Yeah, but they talked about it. I don't think they ever showed it.
and it was right below the flight deck in the back, wasn't it? The
Yeah.
cargo bay.
And they originally, I remember the Kevin Riley, who was singing "Oh Kathleen," I think, because he was in two different episodes, and they've forgotten that they hired him for one episode already, and so they were going to have him play a completely different character because they just didn't remember that he'd already been on the show. They said, "Oh shit, he's already been on the show. Okay, we'll have him play the same guy, only this time he's drunk or something."
Yeah. And the other command hierarchy thing, in the Next Generation, they call the Enterprise the flagship.
Yeah.
Well, that's inaccurate.
Well, yeah, flagships have admirals on them.
Yeah, flagships have admirals. That's why they're called flagships.
Yeah.
I mean, Captain Picard may have still been the captain of the Enterprise, but there would have been an admiral on board.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the Seaview. The Seaview,
Yeah.
they had the captain of the Seaview, which was Hedison, and he was technically in charge of the ship, and then Richard Basehart was the admiral who pretty much ran the thing, but he wasn't the captain of the ship, so the captain
Yeah.
could still overrule him.
Right.
Well, for one ship, there usually wouldn't be an admiral on there because it's like task forces when you got, the carrier
Right.
battle groups and stuff like that. Yeah, the captain is still in charge of the carrier. The admiral that's on board the carrier is usually in charge of the entire battle group.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
But that's not always necessarily true. Sometimes I've seen, and it's been recent time too. Sometimes an admiral will make his flag on one of the flanking destroyers. Just
Really?
But in Star Trek, you mostly find the admirals on star bases.
Well, you rarely
there-
see more than one ship. They all are pretty much like lone wolves. They're just out there. It's not like formations of starships.
Yep.
Because the one time they did it was the M5 bullshit, and that didn't end well.
No, it didn't.
They had to buy like 5 Enterprise model kits and beat them up with torches and shit.
The reason why I said you usually find admirals on star bases is because they're in charge of that sector of space,
Right.
whatever, Which the Enterprise just seemed to go wherever,
Yeah.
It would go where.
Well, it was
they
more
sent
like the Royal Navy in like the 18th century.
Yeah.
Like,
more like they're-
if you're on a Royal Navy ship on the other end of the world, you're the whole
On your
British Empire. You're on your own. You are the entire empire. There's no fucking sending a message back. What do I do now?
yeah.
right. And there's people like, which is true, like Captain Bligh.
Mm-hmm.
He was only a lieutenant.
Right.
Yeah, and they don't say that till he goes to trial, and it's like Lieutenant Bligh, captain of the.
But they put him off the Bounty in a small boat, and he manages to get back to England. I mean, that's pretty good sail. I mean, obviously, he found a real ship to take him to England, but just surviving in the Pacific in a small boat.
I mean, not only is captain a rank, but it could also be a title,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your captain's killed, you may only have the rank of lieutenant, but you're going to become the captain of this ship.
Yeah.
So,
Right. We don't get to see very many Starfleet battle groups until
No.
we get with Star Trek Picard, and then it's just
on Next Generation, you only see 2 commanders on there, don't you?
commanders. You have Commander Riker,
And isn't Beverly Crusher a commander?
she is.
Yep.
Oh, what
And
rank
then-
was frickin' Data? He was a commander.
Lieutenant commander.
Lieutenant Commander. Yeah, so was Worf.
You remember when Worf was just a lieutenant?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember when the first season of The Next Generation, Geordi was just a lieutenant, and he was like the helmsman or something. He wasn't even in charge of engineering. That Chinese guy or whatever, the Asian guy, was the chief engineer of the Enterprise in the first season.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, and then they had that guy that came on that challenged Geordi when Picard left him in charge, that, commander of the engineering or whatever, and he tried to take over the Enterprise. And Geordi just smacked him down and said, "No, I'm in command. You behave." And that's when they were fighting on that planet with the automated robots and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that one.
His name was Leland something, and he was commander of engineering or whatever the fuck he was commander of. But
Because you had Captain Picard, you had Commander Riker, and then everybody else was... Then Data was the only lieutenant commander that I knew of, and everybody else was like lieutenants and ensigns.
well, you had Lieutenant Commander Worf and Lieutenant.
No, but he was... In the first season, he wasn't lieutenant commander. He was just a lieutenant.
Well, you're right.
Because that'd be more natural for them to get promoted every now and again, especially over the course of 7 years. Mm-hmm. Of course, having them all serve on the same ship that long is probably not
Very productive either.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they move people off ships about every 2 or 3 years to keep from building that, what they call kingdom building, their own. It's like when Riker would say, "Oh, I turned down that command as captain." No, you wouldn't have. You're being promoted to captain, and here's your ship.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. He wouldn't have had much choice. He'd been assigned to it.
Assuming that Starfleet is based off of U.S. Navy traditions,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny because every alien race is stronger than humans, but the Federation is still basically run by humans.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we had 119 planets in the Federation,
Yeah,
or whatever it was.
The Vulcans are like bigger and stronger and smarter, but they're just
They're
No, a lot
passive.
of folks don't care. Yeah, they're pacifists.
they're
They're passive.
weird
Yeah.
in their own way.
Well, wasn't there that episode of The Next Generation where that Andorian was the captain of a ship?
Well, there was Enterprise with it. In fact, the best character on that whole series was the Andorian guy, because he's the only cool guy in the whole show. Everybody else was an asshole.
On the ship, on the Enterprise series?
The Enterprise, the 99 2000 series with Scott Bakula.
Right.
Because he actually had this, sort of grudging friendship with the Andorian commander, and the Andorian he'd always end up owing Archer or something. He hated owing him anything, so he'd do him a favor. Okay, I'll do you the favor, and I won't owe you anything. Good. And then something else happens where he's got to pull his bacon out of the fire.
Well, the Andorians were cool because they were the next, I wouldn't say next, but they were as aggressive as the Klingons.
Yeah.
They just had a different culture. And then
I think the only Commodore you ever, even in the original series, was on the Cage where they reused the original pilot.
No, they had Commodore Decker,
Oh, that's right.
which was the father of Decker from the motion
Yeah.
picture.
right,
And he died in the
And the burrito, the giant
yeah.
burrito.
right, and then there was Commodore Matt Decker. I mean,
That's what he just got finished saying.
We said that.
And the one who was Malachi Throne played him in the wraparound for the original pilot, the menagerie, I think they called it.
Right. And then there was Commodore Matt Wesley that fought him in what you call it? M5. Wesley was the
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah.
That one was more complicated. They had a bunch of different ships, and everybody was There's a lot more of that sort of naval interaction in that one episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember the Commodore, and then like I said, back in the original series, each ship had its own emblem.
Yeah.
The Enterprise was that arrowhead.
Uh-huh.
That wasn't Starfleet's emblem. That was the Enterprise's emblem.
Right. Each ship had their own emblem. Yeah.
Because they were a lot more autonomous.
How many starships are there total? Did they ever say how many starships there were in Starfleet?
12.
Well, no, there were 12 Constitution class.
Yeah.
Well, that's when Kirk said it. I mean, that was when the Constitution class was the main firepower of the Federation, and they asked Kirk something about it. He goes, "Yeah, there's 12 just like her."
Because he couldn't really use like a 2-man spaceship out in the wilds of interstellar space. I mean, you had to. You must be this big to be worth a damn.
I mean, because you had the one that was the saucer section that just had the one warp nacelle on the bottom.
Yeah,
Then you had the Reliant class, which was the.
Well, that's you're getting into the movies. Though. I'm talking about the series.
Yeah.
The series, it was either ore freighters or the fucking Enterprise. That was it.
Right. You didn't have the scouts and the destroyers that they talked about in the technical manual. And then, when they fought the Reliant was supposed to be a frigate.
Yeah.
Like, and whenever Spock said they had us outgunned and outrun, the Reliant had those huge phaser cannons on the wings of the nacelles, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So even in modern times, at that time, it probably could outgun the Enterprise, which was, 30 years old or whatever, 20 years old. And not that didn't keep Kirk from beating it, but it was, it was more of a battleship than the Enterprise was, because for whatever reason, they had those huge phaser cannons, and they had, everything was basically, and they had the torpedo tubes up on top and all that kind of thing. They weren't just an explorer ship; they were something else.
Yeah. Well, Steve's getting sleepy.
Okay.
Yeah. All of us are, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Except for Tony, which is only like,
Well, it's 7 o'clock out here, so it's still broad daylight. But I'm always sleepy. I'm old.
Well, anyways, everybody, good night. Glad you joined us on YouTube, for those of you who did.
Yeah, it looks like
Thank you, guys.
fairly successful. So we're going to keep doing it here on YouTube from now on. And hopefully we'll just grow from here.
Yes.
So, bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Right.
Night.